So I've had another idea for a movie. Just trademark Dead and Lovely preemptively, just in case this is a hit and this is something we think we should continue to develop.
Yeah.
Okay, let me set the scene for you. A young man in the fields of Arkansas.
Yep.
This is like the 1930s, 1940s.
You say fields of Arkansas, I'm visualizing it.
You're seeing it right now, right? There's a young boy out there, maybe he's wearing some overalls or something.
Yeah, of course he is.
He's just coming into his age. He's coming into his manhood. Yeah. He starts to sing a song late at night out under a clear, cold moon.
Right.
With a very deep, sonorous baritone voice. It's low and slow, buddy. It's low and slow. It vibrates at such a wavelength that it attracts the wondering eyes and ears of extraterrestrials.
Oh, no.
That were just whizzing by Earth at the time, and they heard this sound. They're like, that's resonating at our frequency. We better inspect this and check it out.
All right.
They fly down to the boy. They communicate with him, and they tell him that he needs to be their eyes and ears all over the world. They were attracted to his voice, so they feel this connection with him. He needs to be their eyes and ears over the world. He also needs to keep aliens a secret.
Oh, obviously.
For everyone. The Earthlings can't know of their existence. He's enlightened. He's a higher being.
Right.
But the rest of the world can't know.
Because he got that voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they enlist him with the task of traveling all over the world, but they need a way to do it. It's like, well, how can we get this guy to travel all over the world inconspicuously? Well, let's make him a singer. Let's make this guy into a famous singer, right? And so he spends his entire life traveling all over the globe under the guise of being a singing star.
Right.
But actually, he's out there fighting aliens and keeping their existence a secret.
This sounds great.
All over the Earth. It's called Johnny Cash, Man in Black. What do you think?
Here comes the Man in Black, Galaxy Defender. Yeah.
You on board?
Yeah. Yes. Let's do that.
All right. Welcome, Dead and Lovely listeners, to another installment of Dead and Lovely, your favorite horror movie podcast in this multiverse and beyond. Here with the host with the most, it's me, your good buddy, Uncle Ben.
Me, Hollywood Steve.
Woo! Woo! And we're recording this just a scant 2 days after we recorded our Day of the Dead episode. Yeah. I get all those mixed up. Night, day, dawn. I always butcher them in my head.
Right. And when is dusk of the dead?
That's a good
Does that never happen?
Yeah. Mid-afternoon of the dead. They're going to run out.
11sies of the dead.
Yeah, there's only so many times during the day.
Yeah.
It's going to get down to where it's like 1 o'clock of the dead. I don't know. It's 1:45 of the dead. I don't know.
Get that 2:30 feeling? Remember that guy? Remember the 5-hour energy guy? God.
How does he fit into all this?
I don't know. But he gives that smug look when he says 2:30 feeling.
You know the one. Yeah, we're recording this super pronto after that last episode because I am just a couple days out from leaving for Shiprocked.
Yeah.
Playing
get on a ship.
Anyway Trio, Skank Banger.
Hey, I have a question for
crazy.
you. I was thinking about this.
Tell me.
Ship starts to go down, but you guys are on stage. Do you play on?
Yeah, it'd be just like that scene in Titanic, only we're, a fake hair metal band.
Yeah, so it'll be like...
Way cooler.
Way cooler.
Way cooler, yeah. It'll turn into more like a fuck yeah party.
This boat's fucking rocking. Don't stop her rocking. I don't know. Let's go.
So it's got to be a fun time. I'm excited about it. But dude, as a result of that, the fact that I'm going to be out for a week doing that stuff, man, I have spent my entire last few days as a acceptable bachelor until my wife gets home. She's leaving actually she gets home like a few hours before I have to leave, which sucks. But my last couple days as a bachelor,
slap her 5 as you go out the door.
Yeah, pretty well. Yeah. Just it looks like a high five, but we're tag teaming dog ownership.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You better hope the ref sees.
I'll be
otherwise he'll kick Kate out of the apartment. You can't watch the dog.
You didn't tag in. I'll be all weak and struggling, trying to get at the door, just reaching out, my hand shaking. She slaps my hand. She comes in there. She's shaking the ropes,
going wild,
throwing
knocking
the
everybody
ball
over. Yeah,
just pouring food into the bowl, doing all kinds of stuff.
Hell yeah,
that's what's gonna happen. But dude, as a result of that, I really figured my days as Bachelor Ben would just be boring, and I'd just be like, oh, I'll just watch whatever movies I want to all day and stuff. I've just been working like a fucking maniac the entire time.
Sense.
Yeah,
working in a coal mine.
Going on down.
You got nothing else to do.
Yeah. Whoops. I'm about to slip down. Look out.
Yeah.
So I've just been making videos like a maniac. I've made 4 videos in the past day or something like that. I've been just booking it. So I've not had time to watch hardly anything this week. You watched anything good?
I did. Last night I watched the 2020 Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Was hindsight 2020?
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean,
I've seen it.
I don't pay attention to wrestling, so I didn't pay attention to any of the like lead up. I just fast forwarded to the matches because I believe you can tell what's going on if they're good wrestlers.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's mad at that guy. He's hitting him.
Yep.
Yeah.
you can figure out the storyline pretty much. Oh, and there's also always the announcers reminding you of everything that's happened in the past 6 months or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. They do a good job of that.
Yeah, but the women's Royal Rumble was fucking awesome. It was really good, and local girl Bianca Belair
Oh,
fucking kicked some ass in it.
nice.
I thought she was gonna win because they announced her like in the Royal Rumble. Even the first two people, they'll just say their names, but when she came out, they were like from Knoxville, Tennessee,
Nice.
and I was like, hell yeah!
Represent.
And then she was in for a while, but then she got knocked out by Charlotte Flair,
oh.
who won.
Woo.
Yeah, spoiler: Charlotte Flair won.
All right.
The men's rumble was actually Emily was watching it with me, and we were both like, man, this is fucking boring because it was just Brock Lesnar throwing everybody who came in, he would throw them out, and then the next person would come in, he would throw them out. And it was like, at first I was like, God, this is so boring, because he's supposed to be a heel though. I was like, I do kind of hate him for this. And
How
then,
dare he throw those people out? Let him in.
But then he German suplexed everybody who came in, and at least two of the dudes weighed probably close to 400 pounds.
Jesus
and he
Christ.
German suplexed both of them twice.
Holy moly.
And so he knocked out 13 people in that fashion.
That's quite a workout.
And yeah, he was like exhausted, and you could tell it was. And I was like, how? Like, because it seemed to me like they were just gonna show like Brock Lesnar's this major beast. He just runs through the entire WWE, and I was like, if that's their plan, he has 37 or 36 more people to do this to.
Dude.
I don't think he'll make it. But then he went out after
How
that.
old is he now? He's got to be mid-40s or something.
He's got to be there around
Good
there.
Lord,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, he's. I mean, you can tell that like he's put on that like I'm in my 40s a little bit of weight, but
Yeah.
like I don't think it's slowing him down any. He's gigantic
No.
still.
He's
yeah,
huge. I'm still not convinced that he's not some sort of a Island of Dr. Moreau, like pit bull human hybrid. I've never
Emily
seen
and I-
anybody that looks more like an angry pit bull than
Emily
him.
and I last night decided he looks like Donald Trump and Patrick Swayze, but I also
I can actually see
Yeah.
that. Like you said that, and I was
Yeah.
like, no, he doesn't. Yeah,
You
he
know?
does. He
and
really does.
On my drive down here, I was like, you know what he actually looks like? Looks like a ripped ass baby. Like he's just got a head that's like
a
a
big
baby
jacked
head.
baby.
He's just a ripped ass baby. So now I want.
With a sword between his titties.
I would love that to be a movie that we watch on a Friday night.
Jacked up baby.
Jacked up baby, and it's just a fucking ripped baby killing people.
Okay, I'm on board with that. Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. The women's matches have improved so much. Like
Well,
back in the day,
yeah.
they either just used to be horrible or it was
Yeah,
just
they were-
like about showing tits and
Yeah,
ass.
showing boobs.
But they're actually sick wrestlers now.
Yeah, they're all really good wrestlers, and because in a Royal Rumble situation, they have a few women who are large. Like Charlotte Flair, she's a tall, muscular woman. They have a few women who are large, but you have very few who can come in and just clear everybody out like you can do with the men.
Mhm.
But actually, because the men have so many giant dudes now, that's actually less likely too. So the Rumble's changed some. But the 1992 Royal Rumble will always be the best.
Oh, of course, that's the king.
Ric
It's
Flair.
the best, man.
Yeah.
I watched something the other day what had a razzling man in it.
Which it was.
So the other night I was making, actually it was the night after we did Day of the Dead. After you left, I started making a whole huge batch of some cashew chicken.
Oh, yeah. That's
Which-
right. You
which is-
were.
I think that's all I've eaten since then.
Just,
I made a lot.
Yeah, you were. I saw
Yeah.
all the veggies and stuff you had laid out.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was really fucking
I
good.
bet.
Yeah. And so I was like, I need something just kind of mindless I can put on. So I texted my wife, who's in Thailand with her sister, and she's like, Jesse recommends Skyscraper.
Okay.
She said,
with
"This
the
is
Rock.
with the Rock." Yeah,
And,
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Who's it have? From
Nev Campbell's
Nev
in
Campbell.
it.
I was gonna say from Scream. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, "Yeah, it's just a big dumb action movie." And so I put it on, and it was immediately like a bit more serious than I thought it should be taking itself.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where it was probably good for what I was doing because I didn't really have to pay attention that
Yeah.
much to what was going on, and just shit was blowing up, and the Rock was doing action things and being gigantic.
I'm a rock.
That's
Who's
me.
a man?
That's what he says.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, I'll put it this way. Okay. In terms of, like, huge building, I gotta save my family movies on a serious meter.
Yeah.
If you put, like, Die Hard kind of low on that scale, because it's fun and has levity.
Uh-huh.
And at the very top of that, I'm gonna put, like, maybe, like, Hostage. Do you ever see Hostage? Also with Bruce Willis? Dude, it's actually pretty bitchin'.
Okay.
It's about, like, a home invasion.
All right.
And he's got to save his family who's trapped in the house. It's actually pretty cool. It gets dark. Takes itself very seriously. Skyscraper's kind of somewhere in the middle of that, I guess.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it was fantastic.
They did it on How Did This Get Made?
I
So
mean, that's a good sign, right?
that's a good sign. It's probably not great.
I need to listen to that episode then. I'd like to hear
you
what they have to
should.
say
Yeah,
about it.
it's Rhea Butcher and Paul F. Tompkins, so definitely a great episode. It was really funny. But I would imagine any action movie with The Rock at least has some moments of levity. Were there any jokes at all?
Not a ton.
That's a
honestly.
shame.
I
What
know,
a waste
right?
of The Rock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny because like they tried to play him off as like a guy who was a cop that he was on this job that went bad, and this guy like blew himself and his kid up, and so that's why he's got like a fake leg and all this stuff. So he's kind of like a wounded warrior of sorts.
Right.
But he's also like jacked and gigantic
Right.
and covered in Polynesian tattoos.
And at one
stuff,
point
and
jumps from one building to another, basically, like from
Yes,
a
he
crane
does.
to another building.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did it successfully. He pulled the move off.
Which would not work.
Sure it would.
300-something pound man running. Like, it's not like 300-pound men are known for their jumping length
That's a good point.
or height.
Yeah, long
or
jumpers.
jumping ever.
Or just jumping in general, yeah. Long jumpers in the Olympics, usually huge guys.
You see those dudes that look like they're gonna come out and deadlift 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Just like, all right, now I'm gonna see how far I can jump.
They're pretty well
Thump, 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 thump,
glued
thump.
to the earth,
Fell
I think.
over. Yeah.
They're pretty well on the ground as far as I know. So I think that's about the only thing that I've watched. Like I said, I'll put it this way. It's a movie to watch if you're on a flight and it's on there.
No, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like something where
Yeah.
you can doze off, you can go in and out and be like, oh, whatever, there's shit blowing up, whatever.
Right. I got you. I'm with you on that one. Ben, I finally finished What We Do in the Shadows season 1.
Oh, the series.
Yeah.
I've been dying to know about this because I've not watched it. Is it good?
Watch it. It's so good and it's on Hulu.
You know, I mean, our listeners know we love the OG.
Same level of humor. But
Not the same dudes, though.
not the same vampires starring, though they do. Some people from the movie drop by.
Cool.
Yeah.
So is it about a different set of vampires?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, but we're introduced to that idea in the movie itself.
Yeah.
That there are tons of different sets of vampires.
For some reason, somebody had told me that it was different people playing the same vampires in the original. So that's why I was kind of put off from it. So it's just a different set
completely
entirely.
different characters.
Well, that fucking makes sense then.
It's great. It's hilarious. What's her name from Booksmart? Has like a few episode arc in it.
Oh yeah.
What's her name? Beanie Feldstein. She's Jonah Hill's sister.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Hill's sister.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's in it a couple episodes.
She's in a few episodes, but also like just it's hilarious. And at a certain point, there is a council of vampires, and of course, you would get to see some of your guys from the original. But for some reason, there's also Tilda Swinton there.
What? What is she doing there? Because she probably is a vampire, I guess. Is it her as Tilda Swinton?
I believe so. I believe she was supposed to be Tilda Swinton. I'm not positive on
That's
that.
fucking awesome. I'm very okay with that. That's hilarious, man. Well, it's good to know that turned out great because that's one of those things that, you know, it could very easily turn out bad and disappointing considering how fucking great the movie is.
Yeah, by the last episode, you'll be like, oh, where's season 2? Like,
nice.
It's really good. Also, everybody go check out Moses Storm, comedian.
Yeah,
I don't have much to say about it.
Before we started here. I think you posted that on Facebook or something the other day.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because I finally saw him. He works for Conan. He's a stand-up. He's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, everything you showed me was really fucking funny. Some good homeschool humor in there.
Yeah.
Always appreciate that. I've been listening to quite a lot of podcasts and stuff as I've been the sole dog walker. Actually been walking a ton. We've been walking probably like 4 or 5 miles every day.
Yeah, because she's probably got a whole lot of nervous energy, right?
Yeah, she's like, what is my life?
Where's the food lady?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've been walking a lot, and I've been listening to, I've been blowing through some last podcasts on the left.
Yeah.
they've been doing a series here recently of going back through and doing the Heaven's Gate cult again.
Okay.
Because they covered Heaven's Gate like really early on in the show.
Yeah.
And it was kind of topical, kind of surface level stuff. But now they're doing kind of a deep dive on it. Really, really, really fascinating stuff. I don't know what the deal is. I'm just so fascinated by cult, and I'm fascinated by what one person can get a ton of people to believe.
Isn't it weird that like after the year 2000, like the number of cults kind of died down? Because it was that lead up to 2000 that was getting people so
like the millennial
nervous.
fascination.
It's so crazy
Yeah.
that that's always going to be true of humans. Like every 1,000 years is going to be one of these big deals. Oh, this must be the end.
Yeah. Even though ultimately that date that we use
means nothing.
It means nothing.
This is
dude.
arbitrary.
And that's the funny thing about it is like right now it's the year 2020, but it's like it's the year 2020 since we started recording human history.
Yeah.
You know? And that's even kind of botched because of the Julian calendar
all sorts
and all
of
that
calendar
stuff.
issues, yeah.
But you know, it's like ultimately this is the year several billion and something in 2020.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Completely
that
arbitrary,
get freaked
dude.
out by it. But I mean, it happened in the first millennium too. It wasn't out of nowhere.
Do you
I
remember
bet it didn't happen at 0 though, because
That's a good
everybody was
point.
like, "It's not 0. We haven't established that yet."
I remember there was that huge hysteria surrounding the Willennium whenever that came about.
Oh, also, I'm stupid. There was no 0. It went from 1 to 1. I'm
1
a
to
dummy.
1?
Yeah.
The one to year 0 there?
Yeah.
Aw. There's a ghost song called Year 0. That's
Is
good.
there?
Yeah. So because I've been listening to that Heaven's Gate series, I've also been listening to the record The Demonstration by Drab Majesty. I posted about it on Instagram the other day, and hope people checked it out because they're so fucking cool. Have you ever listened to that band before?
Mm-mm.
So this record, The Demonstration, is a concept album all about Heaven's Gate.
Okay.
So all the lyrics and stuff are all like quotes and things pertaining to the cult and their beliefs and all this
Nike
jazz.
shoes.
Yeah. And the record, I think it was just made a couple of years ago, but it sounds like if like Depeche Mode and The Cure had a baby.
Okay.
It's like very dark Depeche Mode,
Okay.
like the dark side of their stuff, you know?
Mhm.
It's really cool. I think you'd probably really enjoy
All
it,
right.
actually. So give that a
Worth
listen.
a check.
Drab Majesty, The Demonstration. They've got other records too, but I just really like that one.
Yeah, it sounds interesting.
Pretty awesome
Cool.
stuff, man. Steve, I'd like to get a pull
Let's pull it.
to some Drab Majesty.
When a
last
problem comes
podcast.
along, you must pull it.
That's right. We got ourselves a couple of cold ones right here. Who do you want to start out with here, Steve?
Let's start
call
with
him
this
your name.
porter, because this other one will probably numb the tongue a bit. I
It
think.
might
Yeah.
indeed. So this right here is actually left over from our Christmas beer exchange that we did.
Okay.
It is from Boulder Beer Company from Colorado. It is their Shake Chocolate Porter. Velvety smooth with subtle coffee-like notes. This porter serves a devilishly delicious dark chocolate finish.
Yeah. That's what it
5.9 ABV. That's a 39 on that IBU scale.
All right.
I don't understand the international bitterness units thing because, like, sometimes I have beers that I think are quite bitter, like some IPAs and stuff. They'll have
Yeah.
a really low IBU,
Uh-huh.
and then this has a high IBU, but porters
Okay.
aren't necessarily
39.
bitter. I just
No.
don't really understand like where that falls. How do they judge that? Do they count the bitter molecules? What are they doing here, Steve?
I think, you know that guy from the Keystone commercial that drank the beer and then his face went all weird?
Bitter beer face.
Yeah, they have that guy. They just give it to him, and they have a level to which his face implodes, and then that's the number.
It's off the charts.
Uh-huh.
It's over 100. This is a very, very, very dark beer. This is a cup of
and it
motor
smells like
oil
a
if I've ever
dark
seen
beer.
one.
It smells very much like a porter.
Ooh, it smells very chocolatey too, man. Sometimes I like a beer that's insanely dark. It's
Me
also
too.
very chocolatey.
Me too.
I'm very okay with that.
All right, let's try her
Mine
out.
got a little bit more of some froth on it than yours. Got some suds. Got some suds on this old cup here. How's that working for you?
Ooh, buddy.
Yeah?
Let me tell you.
Is that your buddy beer?
You know, have you ever had a Guinness chocolate cake?
Yeah. It's
I
that.
would replace this with, like, get rid of the Guinness. Put this in there.
Oh my god.
This has a great, like, cocoa
Yeah,
flavor
it
to
does.
It's not like, not milk chocolatey. It's
No.
very dark chocolatey.
Yeah. Damn, that's good. It's actually a little bit lighter than I thought that it would
it
be.
is.
Like, it's not cloyingly sweet or heavy or ultra boozy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes with some of these beers, I'm like, yeah, I just wish it was stronger. I think if this is like stronger, I think it would start getting into that.
Yeah,
like,
probably.
Oh, give you a tummy ache.
What is it? What did you say? 5.9.
5.9. It's not bad.
That's good for a porter. Yeah.
That's pretty damn tasty right there.
Hell yeah.
I'm a fan of that.
Way to go. What are their names?
That's Boulder Beer Company.
Boulder Beer Company.
You did it.
Boulder CO.
That's right. They did it. They did a good job.
Way to go.
All right, now, Steve, we introduced something here recently on the show, which has come to fruition, and I'm very, very stoked about it. A couple of weeks ago, I proposed that if people will go on iTunes, rate and review the podcast, which does help us out tremendously, if somebody can go on there and do a review, at the very end of your review, ask us a question.
Yeah.
And we will answer it on the show. We'll kind of compile a little list of them and do like an FAQ every now and then, because we want to hear from our fans. We want to interact, answer the questions that are keeping y'all up at night.
Yep.
So if you go on iTunes and review the show, just go in there and then do the review. Keep it G-rated or else I won't post it and we won't see it.
Like the dude in that talk shit commercial that's laying in bed just fucking waiting to talk shit to
Exactly,
somebody.
dude.
Yeah.
He gotta talk shit to somebody.
Ready to talk shit. Call bitch ass.
So a couple people have already taken advantage of this and gone on and written us some great reviews and asked us some great questions. So I say before we get into the movie review portion and start talking about Paranormal Activity, how about we just take a little detour, maybe into the preview palace?
Welcome to the preview palace.
Oh my God, that was an eerie voice.
What was that from? Who? What?
Who said that to me?
Was that old Toby?
I can feel it breathing upon me. The demon's breath. And let's step on into the preview palace here and let's answer some of these questions, what these bustas just got to know, Steve.
These bustas always got to know something.
And there's some good ones in here already.
Good.
All right, Steve. Miasma, or miasma? How do you say it? M-I-A-S-M-A.
I say miasma, but miasma I think is also...
Miasma.
That's why I don't say it, because it sounds different to me.
Yeah. 133. He wrote us a great review, which we appreciate, and also asks, question, what is your hands down, no question about it, favorite kill you've seen in a horror movie? Basically one that has stuck with you the most.
Yeah.
Gosh, this is tough. This is a tough one for sure.
It
Starting
is.
off big.
The first one that comes to mind is some people would say is not a horror movie, but for me, the Quint's death in Jaws has stuck with me my entire life and made me afraid of sharks.
Yeah, absolutely so. I mean, how is that not a horror movie?
Yeah. Like the blood coming out of his mouth. A shark is eating him alive.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that is particularly brutal and nasty.
It is.
That boat's getting eaten in half.
Yeah,
That shark is just chomping on him.
Yeah, it's just one of the scariest moments from my childhood I remember for sure.
It's super, super grisly.
Yeah.
It's just very, very like raw and graphic, and there's no soundtrack, so it's just the sounds of him being like torn apart and gritting his teeth and screaming. There's blood on his teeth.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Anytime you can get some blood on the teeth.
Blood on the teeth, yeah. That'll do it. That makes it look a little more like vicious.
Yeah, that lets you know it's for real.
I think another one for me is Dr. Giggles. I've
never seen that.
There's a blood pressure cuff put around the throat, and I hate blood pressure cuffs, and I hate anything to do with my throat.
Okay, so that's a lethal combination.
Yep.
Hate the blood pressure cuff.
I hate it.
How come?
It reminds me of my blood.
Yeah, you're not a fan of that.
I don't like to think about.
Dude, you should get all your blood removed.
Yeah, right? Hey, lose some weight.
I was going to say, you definitely drop some LBs. Get some of that blood out of you there, buddy.
Yeah, but yeah, blood pressure. That blood pressure. I mean, it's comical in there, but it was just one of those things. I already had a throat thing. I already hated blood pressure cuffs, and it was just like, oh. Anyway.
You know, that's a tough one for me to answer because there's so many that I think about when I think about my favorite kills. There's so many in like the Argento flicks and stuff that are just bizarre.
Yes.
That kill in Suspiria where girl's like getting her open heart stabbed.
Yeah.
Is fucking awesome.
It was brutal.
You know? I think some of the ones that I remember from like my early childhood of like just seeing horror movies on at other people's houses and stuff like that. I remember one of the first ones that really affected me, and again, maybe this isn't horror per se, a little bit more of a sci-fi action movie, but whenever Bishop, Lance Henriksen, gets ripped in half by the alien queen in Aliens.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's brutal.
And the special effects are so realistic, and the way that it's like cut from scenes of him to like a robot version of him getting torn in half, and there's like, you know, the milk stuff spraying everywhere. Like, as a kid, to me, it was hyper disturbing and very hard to remove from my head that, like, this isn't real. Like, I couldn't think of it that way.
I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for the milk stuff, But does it ever get explained?
I don't think that it does.
I think I'm thinking in my head that it must be a base of some sort. Like it's supposed to counteract the alien blood, maybe, to keep like their vital parts working.
All right, it could be that.
Doesn't at one point Bishop gets some like it does burn his skin. I
think he gets acided.
Yeah,
at some point.
But maybe the stuff running through his veins would keep his vital components from actually getting acided.
Could
maybe
be that.
I don't know. Maybe it was just it would look cool. They were like, well, it'll look different than blood and it'll look cool.
What do we got? We got some milk. All right, fine.
There you go.
I think one also that I don't know if it necessarily counts as a kill per se, but one that was one of the first like horror movies I watched when I started like really getting into horror movies in my late teens, early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
That scene near the very first of The Ring with the girl in the closet that's watched the video. I know that's not a kill scene, but she does die.
Yeah. And the face?
Her face is so fucked up, dude.
It is.
Like, I can't look at it.
That's Amber Tamblyn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. There's something about that really disturbed me.
Yeah. Really, yeah, the makeup, she looks rotted. It doesn't look like real, like bad corpse makeup.
No,
they actually did a good job making her look rotted.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah, that face is creepy. And, I mean, yeah, it's not the kill, but the death.
The effect.
For sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say one more, too, that comes to mind.
Sure.
There's a scene in Lucio Fulci's Zombie, sometimes called Zombie 2, which I would love to do on the show one day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where there's that chick who gets her head shoved into that big splinter and it pokes into her eye.
Oh, yes.
You remember that?
Uh-huh.
Oh, dude. Like eye stuff I can't do.
Yeah, eye stuff's fucked up.
Yeah, definitely.
For
so that's
sure.
one that I think stuck with me too.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. There's like a million that I know I'm forgetting.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But those are the ones that definitely come to mind. I mean, Quint from Jaws, it will always be, to me, the most frightening because it really just shows not only the power of the shark, but like the fact that the shark has already got the boat halfway in the water and it's that huge. And
it
it's
just seems
like,
so
fuck
hopeless.
You, God damn, I know.
Fuck the ocean.
Yep, not going there.
Okay, we got another one here from Wannabe Goth 217. Love that name. Left a great review and asks, "What are your number one book recommendations, fiction and nonfiction?"
Okay,
I assume this doesn't have to be horror related.
Yeah, I would assume because I mean, I could think of some horror books to recommend. I mean, the book that I recommend to everybody always and forever is Tristram Shandy because
I've heard you mention that before.
Yeah, it's a book that people just haven't read, and I think the thing that I love about it is it connects me to the 18th century. Like reading it, I'm like, oh, this guy's mind is the same as mine. Like he thinks as ridiculous and stupid as I do. Like
even though the time is so different.
Yeah, if you like stuff like Hitchhiker's Guide, who wrote that?
Douglas Adams.
Douglas Adams. If you like Douglas Adams or Christopher Moore or whatnot,
I love Christopher Moore,
and you want the 18th century version of that. This it's an easy read. It's so fucking fun and ridiculous and silly, and people just it's not on essential reading lists and stuff, but it should be. It really should be.
Nice.
Yeah, you got one?
So I got a couple I can think of off the top of my head. Now, one of them that comes to mind for fiction, it's easy for me to instantly go to like some of my favorites that I've read a million times and say, "You ever heard of Harry Potter?"
Yep,
and stuff like that. Which I do love. I mean, I've read those books a million fucking times. As well as like some of the early Chuck Palahniuk stuff like Choke and Survivor.
Good one.
And of course Fight Club and all those too.
Fight
I
Club.
love. But I think one it's fiction, but you wouldn't really guess that, is the Music Lesson by Victor Wooten. So Victor Wooten is a legendary world-class bass player that's like from another planet, basically. Okay. Incredible player. He's been around for a long time. And he wrote this book called The Music Lesson. And it's not like practice your scales. Here's this exercise. It's a boomity boom, a boom boom, play the dada notes. It's none of that. It's absolutely zero of that. It's this story about this guy who meets this boy that just knows everything about everything, and he kind of takes him around to various places. It's almost like a parable of sorts.
Okay.
But he's telling you all this stuff about how to really learn and understand music. And there's so much stuff in there, dude, that's just mind-blowing. I mean, I read that book at the beach a couple of years ago, and it's like, I've never looked at so much of life the same way again.
Mm-hmm.
Just some little morsels of some things that are in there. We'll just drop a few little wisdom nuggets on you there.
Okay.
He's got this whole thing in there about, and again, this is music related, but you could apply this to anything really. But there's kind of this attitude that a lot of beginners have playing music that they should only play with other beginners. You know, they're like intimidated to play with people that are a lot better than them.
But then how are you going to improve?
How are you going to improve?
Right.
Yeah. So Victor in the book,
you're also hearing other people around you. You might be picking up the wrong shit. Like,
or that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because you're just hanging around amateurs that don't know what they're doing. You know, but he's got this thing in there about how, you know, when you were a baby and you were just baby talking and gobbledygooking and stuff, you were allowed to hang around people who had already mastered the language. You were allowed to, you know, jam with them.
Well, I mean, that's how I learned Russian. I didn't learn Russian by sitting around with people who were also learning Russian. I learned Russian by talking to Russians.
Exactly. People that were already good at it.
Yeah, who would be like, oh, you said that wrong.
Yeah.
Or, I don't understand what you're saying. So you have to learn how to actually say it instead of the American version being like, oh, I get what you were getting at because I know the translation of those words. And,
exactly. Right. Yeah. So there's just this whole thing in there about how, like I said, you'll never improve. You'll never learn the language if you're just hanging around babies doing baby talk.
Yeah.
You know? It just really changed my perspective on there. There's also this huge thing in there about, like, when you think about something that you're really good at, like when I think about, you know, playing guitar, you know, and you're like, how long have you been doing that? And it's like, well, I've been playing guitar for, you know, probably like,
forever.
20 years now almost.
Yeah.
And it's like, but is it really 20 years? Because if you total up like how much time
you've actually spent doing it.
Yeah, to actually get good at it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, 20 years, but there's some of those days that you just played for 10 minutes or maybe didn't even do anything that challenged you, so you didn't even get better that day.
Right.
It just makes you sit down and go, actually, I don't need that much time to get good at something.
Mm-hmm.
If you distill it all down to big chunks of time, you know?
Yeah.
It's really a mind-blowing book. I can't recommend it enough. You can usually find it on Amazon for like $1. Even if you're not a musician, it's just a really fantastic motivational read. So that's what I'm going to go with for a fiction.
I've read a ton of nonfiction books, and a lot of them that I love the most are about old Hollywood. But I just remembered because I was going to say Hollywood Babylon by Kenneth Anger.
Okay.
Which is full of like lies and half truths, but it's so fun to
entertaining as fuck.
Yeah, or Easy Riders and Raging Bulls, which is about 70s directors like Martin Scorsese and a whole bunch of other. You
talked about
names.
that a lot on the Exorcist.
Exorcist, yeah. There's a whole section on the Exorcist, and it's just basically about how they're all cocaine monsters or whatever. But the one that I didn't think of and just came to mind, but everybody in the United States needs to read at the very least. But anybody who wants to understand how fucked up America has become. Read A People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. It's an alternate take on American history, showing the minority perspectives and perspectives of progressives throughout the United States history, and showing how basically the country has always been run by conservatives trying to push down progressive ideals.
It sounds like some kind of libtard propaganda, if you know what I mean.
It is. Totally. So,
don't you love that, like, basically because the word libtard has entered the lexicon?
Yeah.
It's like when I hear somebody say that, it's so great because it's basically like them wearing a big badge on their forehead that says, I'm that kind of idiot.
Yeah, I'm that kind of idiot.
It's like, great. Stupid. I know exactly where you're at. Yeah. Got it.
Actually, though, this is not. It's not liberal. Like, it's not liberal propaganda. It really is just showing, like, look, these are all the things that they don't teach you in school that definitely happened and they tried to bury. But it's not a conspiracy. It's just history. It's the true and real history of the United States, just without trying to glorify what has happened. Without trying to say the United States is undoubtedly the greatest nation. You can never question a thing we've done. It questions a lot of things, and also shows a lot of times where we've suppressed a lot of minorities and ideals and things like that. So,
I mean, I didn't even learn about the Japanese internment camps.
I know.
Until like college.
People like that should be taught. Like, you're being taught about internment camps in World War II, and then it's like, well, I mean, but let's not mention the fact we also had them.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's not also mention the fact
we still have them.
We still have them. Yeah.
That's okay. So what was that called again?
A People's History in the United States.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds pretty fascinating, man. It sounds like not exactly an uplifting beach read.
It kind of, I mean, it kind of is though, because it reminds you that things that we're fighting for now, we didn't come up with this out of nowhere, and the fact that people are still labeling it as communism didn't start recently. It started long ago, before communism was even really a thing. Like, they were labeling it as basically communalism, or trying to take away the hard-earned money of these super rich people who obviously didn't hard-earn their money.
Yeah.
So, it's always been about repression of certain ideals. But the book really will. Like, it'll introduce you. I think I mentioned on a past episode, Smedley Butler. It talks a bit about the instance of a bunch of rich men coming to Corporal Smedley Butler and asking him basically if he wanted to take over the United States with them.
Yeah.
Because they hated FDR. So, like, read about it. And these things are true. Like, these aren't conspiracy. You can read their actual historical records. There's tons of stuff to tell you. This stuff all happened. It's just not taught. And it's not taught because it makes us look bad.
Yeah,
but how can we get better if we don't know how bad we actually are?
Yeah, well, if you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
Interesting. You know, my pick for a nonfiction isn't all that far off from that either. I was going to recommend the Real Frank Zappa book.
Oh, okay.
By Frank Zappa, which is about sort of his history as a musician and his influences and life as a touring band leader in the recording industry and stuff. But it gets into everything.
Yeah.
And it was written in, probably like the maybe mid-late 80s, early 90s, something like that.
Okay.
Which he was extremely critical of, like, Reagan, extremely hypercritical of Reagan and that entire regime. So a lot of the book is about the American political scene and stuff at that time, and again, conservatives and stuff like that, and how they've always run the country.
Yep.
So that's why what you're talking about, like, remind me. I was like, this sounds like the Frank Zappa book.
Yeah.
It's really good, worth a read. Even if you're not like a Zappa fan or whatever, you can still get into that.
I mean, you can
it.
tell they always ran the country because when they were forming the Constitution, there were a bunch of dudes like, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We should also get rid of slavery. And then a bunch of people were like, no, what the fuck are you?
What do you mean by that?
Money. How am I going to make money? You want me to get out in the field myself?
You want me to work? Disgusting.
By the way, that's where the term redneck comes from.
Yeah.
A white person with a redneck was disgusting because they had to work. So remember, when you're calling Southerners rednecks, that you're really not aiming at the right problem. You're aiming at the people who weren't even the problem. You're aiming at the people who were also working in the fields.
Yeah.
The people who were the problem were the rich.
Little sleight of hand
it's
act
always
right there.
the rich that are the fucking problem.
Hey, no, it's really those bums on food stamps.
Yeah, those are the assholes. It says the person on food stamps generally.
Yeah. So I just, little sidebar, I just got notification. Kate just texted me that she may be quarantined for several days after she arrives back in the States. Yeah, apparently this is in the middle of, like, the coronavirus. Epidemic scare.
Yeah.
Which
happened around Chinese New Year, which was the worst fucking time for an epidemic to start because they all get together.
Ooh, that's true. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, because like the numbers are like doubling overnight and shit, apparently. Yeah, so she has to fly from Bangkok to, like, Shanghai.
Holy fuck.
So flying from
you think
Shanghai
she's going to get Shanghaied?
She's going to get Shanghai.
The next time you see her, she's going to be a pirate.
And I'll just return from my sea voyage, so we'll both be pirates. Yep. So we got one good set of eyes between the two of us.
What if the next time you see her is she's pirating your fucking ship?
Oh,
she's like,
shit.
Yar! By the time you see her, she's already taken over the ship, which sounds like Kate.
Yeah, that's probably something she'd do, really.
She's already captain of the ship. She's
sounds
like,
about right. she has Zora. Zora has an eye patch, too.
Yeah, Zora, of course, has an eye patch. She's got 2 eye patches.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so that's pretty intense. I don't know, man. I might eat my words. I'm gonna touch wood, as the dead lobsters say, for good luck here.
Yeah.
But it's like we've had SARS, we've had bird flu, we've had swine flu. Look, the regular fucking flu kills like almost 10,000 people a year, y'all. Like, there's all these variants and stuff, but
no reason to react to it. But there is reason to react to it, and then the health organizations across the world are. I think I saw in Germany they've already basically figured out some elements of the virus. Like, the world's already working on it. Don't freak out too much.
Yeah. Unless
I mean,
you're
people
a
are
person,
dying and it's sad and it's the worst.
If you're a baby or
Yeah.
an old person or a person with a compromised immune system,
Yeah, there's a lot to
be
be
concerned.
a little bit worried about.
yeah.
Sure.
But that's probably a part of your everyday life anyway.
The
Babies always worrying about their health.
The one thing to worry about is if they come up with a vaccine for it, because I don't know how well that'll spread in the United States. I don't know how many people will actually get it, because not that many people get the flu shot, and it will just keep you from getting the flu.
You know what? This year, I was really worried about getting
Yeah.
the Namthrax again this
Yeah.
year, which is like a hyper bug. It's like con crud, basically, from going to the Nam show. I did get a flu shot this
And you
year.
didn't get the anthrax.
I didn't get the flu. I was also very careful, though. I did like no handshakes ever,
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I was careful. But still,
Yeah,
might be something to it, man.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully
First time I've ever
there's
had a
not
flu
too
shot
much
like
to it.
ever, Okay, we're ready to move on to the next
Yeah,
question here.
Let's hear it.
We're winding down here. Okay, this is a great review by Horse Boner.
Awesome.
Yes, I assume it's a he. I don't.
No,
Although
I hope
you know
not.
what?
I hope it's not.
Yeah, if it's some awesome chick that's like Horse
Yeah,
Boner is an
Horse
awesome
Boner,
name.
yeah.
You're fucking badass.
Uh-huh.
Asks, what is the best horror movie starring an actress who is likely infected with Derek Jeter's brand of herpes? Derek Jeter, we were going through his list before the show here. He has dated a gamut of Hollywood honeys.
But we figured it out. It's under the skin.
Yeah, starring ScarJo.
Yep.
Old ScarJo, she's
Yep.
called.
Yeah.
That movie, we've mentioned a few times on the show. Y'all, that is a underrated
It's a weirdo.
treasure of a movie. It's so fucking strange,
Yeah, we'll
man.
have to do that sometime.
Oh, yeah, we totally should, man. Especially this time of year where everything's all gray and drab and nasty outside. Goes well with that. What is it? Is it like Scottish landscape or Irish or something?
I don't remember.
One of them. One of them. Oh, man, it's so fucking good, dude.
Yeah, so that's the easy answer to that. The other possibilities, I don't know if Jordana Brewster's been in any horror movies. There was what's her name? Who's married to Justin Timberlake? She was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh,
remake. Jessica Biel.
Beale.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in TCM, so
Right.
maybe she has that Derek Jeter herpes.
Yeah.
I mean, Mariah Carey.
Scarlett Johansson of Mariah Carey.
She had that movie that was horrible.
Uh-huh. She did. Glitter.
Glitter, it was called. That's right.
That's pretty horrific.
I think so.
I would say of that list, it wasn't even hard to choose which actress to look at, because Scarlett Johansson is the one that I'd be like, yeah, she's the best actress on this list for sure, by far.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one more here, Steve, and then we're going to get into the movie. This is from Kevin Set Bingo.
Kevin said bingo.
His question is, what is both of yours favorite music-related movies? That Thing You Do Is Mine with Rockstar, a close second.
Okay.
That's a good one right there.
That is a good one.
I do love That Thing You Do.
That is a great one.
I was talking about that
Mhm.
some time ago on the show where like we were getting that free Stars preview weekend back on our satellite
watched
dish. That and Mr. Holland's Opus, another music-related movie. The Oneaters.
Yeah.
I love That Thing You Do. That's
Empire
also one of mine.
Records is one I love.
Empire Records is so great, man.
Yeah.
Rex Manning Day.
Rex Manning Day. Hell yeah.
What's with Today? I like that guy.
Yeah, Rory
the turtleneck
Cochrane.
guy.
Yeah, Rory Cochrane.
Damn the man.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's also the. there are a ton of stoners in Dazed and Confused, but he's the super stoner in Dazed and Confused.
I don't know if you noticed in Empire Record, but there are several really cute girls in the movie.
Yeah.
You might not have noticed.
I did notice.
You didn't overlook it.
Yeah. Well, had big crush on Liv Tyler and Alicia Silverstone growing up, and then they were in that Aerosmith video together.
Yeah.
Which was kind of the kickoff of that. But yeah. Renee Zellweger,
Renee
right?
Zellweger, that's right.
As a young one, you get to see her booty.
That's right.
Puts on that apron with no clothes. Yeah. She's a cutie in that.
Absolutely.
And then what's
so.
her name from The Craft, who shaves her head?
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
she's still
She is in
cute.
The Craft,
Yeah.
dude.
Uh-huh.
Holy shit, I forgot she was in that.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. That's a fun one, man.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Rewatching it when, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I was like, yeah, it's like super 90s and really sort of late teens, early 20s, aimed at that sort of audience. And
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah, but it's still awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, too, it just makes you like kind of pine for like how cool CD stores were.
Yeah.
To go and browse through the bins and try to find records
Uh-huh.
you didn't have and shit.
Yeah.
It's way more fun than browsing Spotify.
It's also got the scene with Ethan Embry when he eats all those fucking pot brownies and he's watching that Guar video. And
forgot about
my
that.
cousin Buddy and I loved that part.
Nice.
Hey, you love the band.
Fucking Guar, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, that's a great choice, man. That Thing You Do is actually definitely one of mine.
Yeah, it's
I
up
really
there.
like that one a lot. I think overall the most impressive, well thought out, accurate music movie is Whiplash.
Oh, okay.
That movie, dude, had my blood pressure skyrocketing.
Did it have it rushing or dragging?
It wasn't my tempo, I'll tell you that. Shit, dude, have you watched that?
Yeah.
My God, I'm serious, man. Like, I don't know, other than like Hereditary, I don't know the last time like my hands
that
have
tense.
sweat that much during
Right.
a movie. Like I was, you hear people talk about like, man, this movie was giving me full on like anxiety watching it. That never happens to me. Because
Yeah.
I'm watching horror flicks and I'm like, this could never happen.
Yeah.
That movie was, I mean, scaring the shit out of me. Towards the end, like when he gets on stage and just gets fucking hosed,
Yeah.
I was like falling apart.
Yeah.
It was also the day before when I was leaving to play, like, I think my first Shiprocked that I ever played, which was just me and my cover band. So it was like, let's go into this kind of unknown last minute and see what happens. And then I watched that movie the night before I left.
Damn.
No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah, so I think the impact that movie left on me will probably cement that as one of the finest music-related
Okay.
movies ever made.
Sweet.
It's just amazing, man.
And then, of course, we couldn't end the list without mentioning Slumber Party Massacre 2.
Just still need to
So-
watch, man.
Everybody needs to watch it. Everybody needs to see it. It's
Awesome.
not good, but it's got that chick from Wings in it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys want your questions answered, be sure to go on iTunes and write a review and just leave us a question, just like any of these. Like I said, it can be about anything. It doesn't have to be horror related. Just leave us questions, and you'll hear them answered right here on the show. Mad props to anybody who's already put up a review and put a question on it.
Yeah, we'll
really
get to 'em.
appreciate that a lot. And again, the reviews help us show up in those search engines like crazy. So if you guys want to help the show out, you can do that, or you can donate to our Patreon page.
Yeah, patreon.com/dead and lovely. Head on over there.
Dang right. Now, Steve, I'd like to get me a pull here before we get into
Me
the movie.
too.
Is that okay with you?
I would love to, and
I
I'm
feel a little
interested in
underpulled.
what's about to happen here.
Okay, this is our last selection of this first batch of beers that our man Jeff sent us.
From
Although
K2.
K2 Brewing out of Rochester, New York. Although he's got another batch of goodness that he just picked up from
Awesome.
the brewery the other day.
Yeah,
that he sent us.
I know we have another batch coming from the Pacific Northwest as well.
That's right. Yeah. I'm very excited about that. Always excited to try the beers that you guys want us to check out. Now, this is going to be interesting. So this is, again, a K2 Bros Brewing. This is their jalapeno cream ale.
Jalapeno cream ale.
Now,
I
this
like a
is
cream
strange.
ale. I
don't-
like a cream ale.
I'm trying to remember if I've had any cream ales.
Have you ever had a Little Kings?
I don't think so.
Like 7-ounce bottles that came in like an 8-pack.
Wait, yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah, that's a cream ale.
That's a cream ale.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're all right then. Well, let's find out about this. I'm interested about the jalapeno element. Maybe it just pours out like a queso fresco.
That would be amazing.
This is
if
a
I
nice
drank
clear-
this and it tasted like a queso,
Yeah,
I would be
I'd be happy about it.
Because I put beer in my queso dip.
There you go.
Maybe this will be
Queso-
the beer I use in the
Put
future.
queso in your beer.
Put queso in my beer dip.
This is a 7.5
Oh, it smells
ABV.
Great. They're like fresh jalapeno smell off of it.
I love that, man.
Me too. I love jalapenos.
Oh, yeah,
Fresh,
it definitely
pickled,
smells like
whatever,
a fresh jalapeno, dude. That's the thing, man. To me, like jalapenos, I don't only just love the heat that they contribute, but I just love
taste
the
and
flavor,
yeah,
man.
it's just like a perfect. It's almost like. I think it goes back to my Aunt Vicky had this garden. I remember when I was little, and the smell of the jalapenos. Is it great?
Oh, you're gonna like that just fine. I'll tell you that. That's fucking awesome,
Wow.
right? Because
Why-
it's like
who thought that? Because it's genius. The jalapeno
Yeah.
with the cream.
yeah, it's lightly sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It has a little bit of heat, but more than the heat, just the jalapeno
Yeah, the taste.
flavor.
Yeah.
like the habanero one that Jeff got us was hot.
Yeah, it was hot. It actually had like real heat to it. This has just a tiny bit of heat, but more flavor to it.
But with the sweetness and stuff, really works very well. It almost reminds you of like a jalapeno candy or something. You know?
If somebody was like, "Would you like a jalapeno cream saver?"
Yeah.
At first, I would say no, but I've had this now, and I'd be like, "Okay, let's
Bring
try
it
it out."
on. Yeah, how about it? That's really fucking awesome.
Yeah.
What a unique beer. I can't
Yeah,
compare that to anything I've ever had.
No, at all.
Sometimes you get those like weird experimental beers, and it's just like, okay, it was unique, but I don't really like it. This
the
is
more
like,
I get
this
into
works.
It, yeah, the more I get into it too, the more I get that jalapeno, like fresh jalapeno taste. Like almost just actually biting into a jalapeno.
Yeah.
It's good.
Dude, whoever thought this one up had their fucking drinking cap on.
Somebody up there in Rochester.
One of them Yankees.
Damn Yankees.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for sending
bagged
us.
it. Probably stole it from a Southerner.
Well, thanks so much, Jeff, for sending us these K2 Bros Brewing Company
Hell yeah.
beers. They have been a big old hit. I think this one and the Winter Warmer are probably my favorites.
Yeah, that Winter Warmer, man, that was wild.
Yeah, I really like that
Yeah,
one.
both of them, like actually all of them are a little bit strange, except for maybe the Fruit Punch Sour, which just tasted delicious,
Yeah.
like Kool-Aid.
Yeah, exactly.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was more like a wine cooler,
Yeah.
a malt liquor, or something like that. It was really good. But you know what's cool about all these is like, you got us the Winter Warmer, the habanero sour IPA,
Yeah.
a couple of the sours, the tangerine one and stuff, and now this. They've all been very different.
Oh yeah, all over the map. That is nice to see.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like, I don't know, fucking whatever. Like every variety of Sam Adams kind of tastes like
Sam Adams, yeah.
They all Stone is the same way
Stone
too.
is kind of the same
Every
way,
Stone
yeah.
kind of tastes the same, other than that Vengeful Spirit, which
Yeah.
is still my jam.
There
of
is a
jams.
Lagunitas taste, though several Lagunitas taste different.
Yeah.
Certainly. Dark
But you can
Swan.
you can tell.
But you can still tell.
You can still
yeah.
tell, and thankfully, it's my favorite taste
Yeah,
in
it is the
fucking
best.
world. Dude, if we have any listeners that are out there near either of the Lagunitas
Yeah, out at
breweries,
Petaluma,
Dude.
fucking get us some whatever.
if y'all can snag us some of that rare shit that we don't get
Yeah.
out here, because they don't distribute all the crazy
Right.
stuff all over the place.
The-
we get the normal stuff. We get Little Something. We get Maximus. Hop
yeah.
Stupid.
Down in Atlanta, they'll get a lot more.
Yes.
Yeah. But, like, yeah, here, we still get a pretty good distribution, but not, I never saw Sparkling or Dark Swan in this area.
No, not often.
Yeah.
No. So if you guys can snag some of that, get at us. We'll give you a
Hell
post
yeah,
box to send stuff
seriously.
to, man.
Yeah.
All right, Steve, the subject of today's show is Paranormal Activity.
Uh-huh.
From what year? When did this come out?
Okay.
2000-ish?
It came out worldwide 2009,
2009.
but it premiered in 2007.
So it sat on the shelf a little while.
Well, not really. There was no shelf for it to sit on except for Oren Pele's because he made it with his own money and was shopping it around to try to find somebody to distribute it.
And he shelved it on his own shelf.
Well, I guess he probably kept it in his pocket.
Yeah, on a little hard drive or something.
Yeah, so he could like show it to people. Like, hey, here you go.
Check this out.
Yeah.
That's crazy. This is not the first time you've seen this.
No,
right?
no. I think I saw it around 2010, like early 2010. At the time, wasn't super impressed with it because I was just going into it with a real cynical.
Found footage. Blah.
Yeah, I was going to it with a cynical mindset, just like this can't be good. And
Yeah, well, after Blair Witch, it's like there's this huge explosion of everything trying to be found footage, you know, and it just doesn't work that way.
yeah, and I don't allow myself to give up on things, as probably evidenced by the fact that I've seen all the Final Destination movies several times, all the Saw movies. And I watched all the Paranormal Activity movies, and I think it was around part 3 where I was like, wait, I think I'm wrong about this. I think these are actually better than I think. And so I went back and watched the first one again, like just palate cleansed, ready to watch it fresh. And I was like, this is fucking good. Like he's going against so many tropes, but like building so much tension in a way that I didn't expect from a found footage film, because so much of found footage is just bad camera work. I mean, at this time, so much of found footage had been bad camera work and
On purpose, yeah.
Yeah, and just like obscuring and a whole lot of jump scares, really. And it's like, I mean, the thing about jump scares in a found footage is like, Jesus Christ.
You
like,
just happen to capture that on film.
right.
Come on.
Like, yeah. This movie doesn't have jump scares.
Not really.
In fact, it does something amazing, which is it builds up your trust so that when the camera is just showing you a section of the house, you're like, something is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, because
but it's not going to be out of nowhere.
Right.
It's just going to be, you're supposed to pay attention, then that small thing happens, and it's like, okay. And then later it's bigger, and then later it's bigger again. but
Yeah.
you've been trained to just keep your attention on it, so you keep watching it, and it's never a surprise, but it's always unsettling.
Well, I think part of that too is just because the way that the film is curated, so to speak. It feels as though it is a bunch of found footage that somebody clipped together to show you the significant bits of what happened. Like they don't show you the 3 hours where they were just sleeping and nothing happened. Like it blatantly shows you that this was curated by someone who found the footage and they fast forwarded to this part where something crazy happened.
Yeah, they edited it together so that you can see. So
you're watching it knowing whoever edited it is going to show you things for a reason.
Right.
It's just due to the way the whole thing is put together.
Yeah. So you can infer infer for sure. There's tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of tape that was just nothing.
Yeah.
And all of this is just edited to show you the action. But it feels so real because it had two things going for it. One, no script.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm new to this. This is the first time I ever watched
this.
There
was an outline of what was supposed to happen, but no script. All of the dialogue is improvised.
So, like, how long was the actual script for this? I mean, you're talking like 10
probably
pages
just
or
like
something?
a page, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, he probably just had, like, these are the things that are going
On
to
this
happen.
day, the doctor's going to arrive. On this day, this happens, yeah.
Yeah, and then they just improvise stuff. Like,
Do you think he took a page from the Blair Witch in doing it that way?
Yeah, he was definitely going for Blair Witch, but, like, so apparently, like, I mean, he worked in as a computer programmer or something, and he had already made a good bit of money, and so he had bought this house, the house that's in the movie.
Okay.
He had bought this house in San Diego.
This is Oren.
Oren Peli. And this was the first time he had stayed in a house by himself, like away from his family, and his first night he just hears, like, you know, all the normal creaks and groans of a house that you just don't notice when you're young. And he got this idea for these people who are living in this haunted house, but grabbing a camera and trying to go see what's happening instead of being like, you know, people often are in haunted house movies where they're just scared of the thing and constantly running from it.
Right.
In this case, he was thinking, like, what if somebody involved just wanted to go to where that noise was every single time? And you know, then we get Mika, who does that.
So this started because he had just bought this house.
Yeah, and then so he put this all together. They shot it in 7 days. He found two actors. Like the post was that you had to be good at improv, and he basically had to find two people who immediately hit it off. And he said that Katie and Mika, it was like they had known each other for years when they first just started talking. So.
Had they worked in film before this, or is this their first movie too?
Katie had she got an acting degree. She had just moved to.
She's
LA.
doctor actress, huh?
Yeah, doctor actress. And Mika had worked as a camera operator, but was trying to act. But no, neither of them have done much outside the Paranormal Activity realm. Mika, nothing outside the.
Oh, really?
But
Katie's been in like a bunch of them, right?
She has been in I believe 5 total.
Wow, there's a lot of these. We'll talk about the sequels later too.
Yeah, we will.
But that's the thing though, is like when you're doing a found footage movie like this, if you want to keep the illusion going, you can't fucking put Tom Cruise in it.
No,
unless it's specifically The Haunting of Tom Cruise, which is a movie I want to see.
Hell yes,
him jumping up on couches going crazy.
Tom Cruise,
give me that movie, dude.
Yeah, what in The Haunting of Tom Cruise, we see him on Oprah jumping on that couch, but that's because a ghost gator is coming up from.
Ooh, he's haunted by ghost gators. Fascinating.
Well, he's haunted by all sorts of ghosts, but ghost gators for sure. So yeah, like the feel, the like realness to it really works, I think, like because you have no idea who these people are. There's nothing about it that really hits the major horror tropes you would expect from a haunted house or possessed house.
There's no blood running down the walls or anything crazy.
It's all just
there's nothing levitating even.
Yeah, just noises. We hear noises.
Yeah,
basically, and then some slamming doors and stuff. But like that's so effective. It's still
never too over the top.
Yeah, it's still so capable of drawing you in. Like I think these movies probably work best on people who do believe in ghosts. As someone who doesn't believe in ghosts, I'm just watching it and like so invested in how well he's building the tension.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh, this is a good movie. But
Well,
I bet if you believe in ghosts, this is the type
probably
of movie
gets
that
real,
fuck
doesn't
with
it?
you. Yeah.
The thing is I think a lot of that tension, and like you said, the more subdued nature of the haunting, as it would be, is I think so effective because whether you believe in ghosts or not, I mean, everybody has had some time that they've woken up in the middle of the night and heard a thump or heard footsteps or
something that sounds like a voice.
Yeah, or a light switch has been turned on or a door moves or whatever. It's like everybody's had these experiences. Whether you just think it's, well, the house is settling or you think it's a fucking ghost.
It's still unsettling every time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to, I think, when you were a kid, too, and you'd wake up in the night and everything is so quiet and you'd look out the hallway and just watch and see.
Yeah.
You'd think you saw a shadow moving and shit like that. I think this movie does that kind of thing very well, even with the way that, like, the way they have the camera set up in their bedroom, right? Like, it's not just pointed at them in bed. You also get that long shot of out the door and down the hallway.
It's specifically aimed down the hallway, but it's set up so we can still see them in bed, which gives us a good, like, context, but also, like, it's able to show us all the stuff, but never shows us anything because it's in the dark. Like,
but it reminds me of, like, my room when I was a kid that I would sleep in was off of a hallway.
Yeah.
And I'd sleep with the door open. And I remember, having nights where I'd wake up and I'd hear a sound and I would just watch the hallway looking for shadows moving or looking for anything. And this movie does so well with that of, like, giving you the same effect. It gives you that dark hallway, but it also gives you, I think, the added suspense of, you sitting here watching this dark hallway outside of their bedroom, knowing that if you saw something, even if there was something to see, which there never is, but even if you saw it, they wouldn't know it was there.
Yeah.
Because, like, they're sleeping or they just couldn't see down the hallway.
Yeah, that is a constant creepy element to it, is the stuff that's happening and knowing they're right there and they're not awake and aware of it. And it's like, well, I don't know why we feel safer if we're awake and aware of it. It's just like the kid thing where you cover yourself with a blanket and now you're safe.
Yeah,
like,
sure. Out of sight, out of mind.
You just feel safer, like, knowing that it happened.
Yeah.
Like, just seeing it later would be the most frightening thing, I think, later.
So I like that they kept the poltergeist activity at somewhat subdued levels. Like, it never goes full on like the movie Poltergeist, where there's a room full of shit that's objects flying around through the air and stuff. Not a lot of us have seen that stuff, but a lot of us have felt weird breezes from nowhere and cold pockets of air and things like that this movie deals with. I think that's why it's so effective, is because it's more relatable than over the top haunted house crazy possession activity.
Let me just I'll get through real quick how this ended up in theaters. Because I think it's an entertaining story, one that you don't hear a lot anymore. I mean, you honestly do not hear of movies that have a $15,000 budget being released.
That's crazy.
Nationwide.
Before we get into that, I'm just going to point out, I'm loving this beer.
Yeah, me too.
And what I'm thinking about with every sip is, can you imagine how good this would be with, like, a grilled bratwurst or something?
I was going to say a burger.
God, or a burger.
Maybe, yeah.
Holy shit. You got that with tacos? Anything. It'd be awesome.
It's really good.
There's just something about it that I was like, man, this would be great with food specifically. Because a lot of these beers we have on the show are, like, not really food beers. They're
this
just
actually might even be
own.
really good with Mexican food.
That's what I'm saying, with tacos or something. Would be awesome, man.
Wow. Yeah.
Good shit. Okay, so how did they make this movie?
Okay, so Warren Pelly made this movie. I mean, just basically, he has the money. He
had he ever worked in the film industry before?
No.
He's just a guy who's like, I want to make it a movie.
Yeah, and he was like, Blair Witch, found footage, and that's what he wanted. He didn't want it to seem like unreal, so the more real it is, the better. So
isn't that the great thing about found footage?
Yes,
it's supposed to look
real,
like you didn't make a movie.
Exactly.
So that means that you don't have to go out and buy a red camera,
right,
or some kind of crazy ridiculous rig. You don't have to go buy a Steadicam and incredible mics.
And in fact, that if you do that, it makes it less believable.
Yeah. That's the great thing about doing a found footage movie, is that it's supposed to look like it was filmed for cheap. What was crazy about it too, though? Like, before Kate left, she got the newest, like, iPhone.
Uh-huh.
And she's been sending me videos, and the videos are insane quality.
The new iPhone, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you could film something on that and it wouldn't really look like a found footage movie.
No.
Because it doesn't look like shit. Like you'd probably
Yeah.
have to go in and digitally degrade it
Yeah.
to make it look like it wasn't filmed on a good camera.
That movie Unsane was shot entirely on iPhone.
I didn't see that one.
Oh, well, I mean, check it out.
Right on.
Yeah. So he makes the movie. And just think about this. He's made this $15,000 movie. No idea if people are gonna like it. So he submits it to Screamfest in 2007.
Okay.
He shows it Screamfest, and people are digging it. And an assistant from CAA, a talent agency in LA, sees it and signs him immediately. So they get him a meeting with Jason Blum. Now most
Like Blumhouse Blum.
yeah, that guy.
Okay. So this was before
this is
he was anybody.
Blumhouse. No Blumhouse at this point. This is just Jason Blum, senior executive at Miramax at the time.
P.S. He should have called it Blum Hut. I'm just saying. That sounds better.
What if he had called it Blumkin?
Blumkin, it's
There you
called.
So he gets him. The agency get him in front of Jason Blum. Jason Blum really enjoys the movie and gets attached to it, but it says like, Miramax can't do it or whatever. We'll have to shop it around. So now you got Jason Blum shopping around with Oren Peli, which helps a lot because he is the senior executive at Miramax. So they take it to DreamWorks, Spielberg's company. Spielberg sees it and some other people. They all enjoy it. They say, okay, great, interested. They buy it for $350,000, but they say we're gonna have to remake the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they decide they're gonna remake the whole thing, and Jason Blum and Oren Peli convince them, look, let's just have one screening of the movie to see, maybe get some ideas of what to do with the remake or whatever. But they're really secretly being like,
We know it'll hit.
we know
Yeah.
people probably really like this.
Wow,
So-
the original intent was to blow it all away and redo the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're losing nothing. $15,000 on the budget, $350,000 they paid the guy.
Yeah, you're
That's
already in the black.
nothing
Yeah, you've
to
already made money.
DreamWorks, yeah.
Wow.
So the thing is that DreamWorks had been acquired by Paramount 2 years before this. So when DreamWorks takes it to Paramount wants to make a bunch of changes and whatnot, but they do the viewing, and basically what happens when they have like these audience viewings of movies is you go in for free. You can leave if you want, but you do have to do an exit interview. Like, you don't have to stay for the whole movie, but you have to do an exit interview and basically give them what your thoughts are.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah. But you can't go home. You have to stay here for this exit interview. Anyway, so the movie starts playing, and they start noticing some people walking out, and the executives are thinking like, oh, fuck.
People hate it.
This is a bomb. People hate this. And then the people doing the exit interviews find out they're leaving because they're disturbed.
Wow.
And that, for a horror movie, means you're going to make a lot of fucking money.
And this is real. This isn't like Veronica.
No,
fake high bullshit.
why would, because like this happened in 2017. They didn't release the movie, or 2007. They didn't release the movie for 2 years. Like, when they did advertise it, they did those advertisements where they showed the audience.
Oh, yeah, the
reacting.
audience reaction and
Yeah,
shit.
to-
I
to,
remember
like-
that now. Yeah.
But also because like what would you show from the movie as like promotional material?
right,
it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
look
How do you
good.
make an action-packed trailer out of this stuff that's
Exactly.
filmed
Yeah.
really low res and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, so they decided to scrap the remake, which then they weren't confident about releasing it entirely. So they decided in like lead up to it, they took it to 12 college towns and showed it. And aside from one showing at Penn State, they completely sold out. And the reason the showing at Penn State didn't sell out is there was a Penn State football game that day. Nobody at Penn State was going to be there, but still, there were a ton of people there. So all these showings sell out, and then they do sort of limited release with just a few cities, and they're all selling out, making tons of money. So this isn't the type of movie that they did this week one nationwide thing and then like see where it's at in the box
It
office.
was kind of grassrootsy, huh?
It's kind of grassrootsy from the beginning, and then finally they get it out worldwide. The first week it was like number 4 in the box office. Again, if this were a $100 million movie, it's a bomb. if you're number 4 in the box office your first week.
Yeah.
But because it was a $15,000 movie, it was like, what?
Gigantic
And
hit.
then it
Yeah.
eventually ended up number 1 in the box office, beating out whichever Saw was out at that time.
Whoa.
So
I mean, that right there
that's huge.
is
Yeah.
very huge.
Yeah, so
Which is funny, too, because, I mean, Saw, like we talked about on our Saw episode, I mean, that was kind of one of those original, like, this was made for nothing.
very
and it
similar,
made
made
tons
for
of money.
nothing, made in like very limited amount of time, and yeah, still like this movie surpassed that. And in fact, this is believed to be the best performing budget to
Most
box office
profitable.
result, most profitable
Wow.
movie ever made.
Holy cow.
The franchise is definitely extremely profitable. The total budget of all 6 films, $28 million. Oh,
for
sorry.
6 movies?
For 6 movies, sorry. $28,015,000. Total box office, $890,533,000.
Almost $1 billion.
$646. Almost $1 billion off of
28
less
million.
than $30 million.
Holy shit.
So
now that's a good return right there.
that's an amazing return. And the thing is that, like, these movies could easily be looked at by horror fans as, like, too mainstream. But if you don't know the history, if you don't know the lead up, it's like, this is the least mainstream shit you could do. This was somebody who wasn't even part of the horror industry making a horror movie that ended up being one of the biggest movies of the year, like, horror movie-wise. Like, one of the biggest horror movies of the year, and then a huge franchise that is supposed to add a 7th title either this year or next.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, damn, good on him, man.
Yeah, way to go.
Well, the thing is, though, is this is one of those movies, dude, that whenever you see it, kind of similar to Blair Witch in a way, it's the same thing that Kevin Smith felt whenever he saw Slacker, Richard Linklater, where you watch it and you go, I could make a movie.
That's true. Yeah, just like me watching Kevin Smith's Clerks.
Yeah,
I could
dude.
make a movie. Yeah,
exactly. Like, you watch it and you go, the only difference between me and Oren is that I've not made a movie.
Yeah, he did it.
Is that he actually did it. Yeah.
He wasn't a director. He's not like trained in film. He didn't even do any of the camera work. The camera was set up or controlled by Mika most of the
Katie,
time,
yeah.
or Katie.
Wow.
So, like,
holy cow. He just found the best way to make money ever.
he did. Yeah.
You know your actors? That's your crew also.
Uh-huh.
You know your
you
set?
guys know
That's
how
your
to
house.
carry a camera? Good.
Yeah. Instead of building sets, put it in
Here
your
you are.
house.
Come to my house.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the 2 actors? You answer. It was listed, I think, on a website. The audition call. You answer this call for audition. You go in. There's this guy who has no connections in Hollywood. So, like, your agent doesn't know who he is.
Yeah.
This guy
some
says,
guy.
"Okay, I want to shoot this horror movie in a week at my house. No dialogue, scripted. You'll have to make it all up.
And you're running the camera.
And also, I need you to run the camera." Can you imagine that? Like,
That's
they
gonna be
got
a pass.
paid $500 for being in this movie.
For real?
Yeah.
Did they get any part of the back end?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, God,
I'm
I
pretty
hope
sure.
so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And actually, that might be why neither of them have pursued much in acting, because they
Good to
made
go.
good money. I mean, I know Katie's been in like 4 or 5 of the movies too.
I don't know, though, dude. The thing is like with movies like this that are set up with such low budget and such low aspirations, there might not have been any kind of back end deal. It might
It's
have been
possible.
like, this is, I mean, same thing
Yeah.
happened with Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Those people made jack shit off of that movie.
It's possible. It's also probable, though, because studios will cover their asses in these cases a lot of times, because you don't want actors pursuing you for back wages.
Yeah.
Studios, when they buy the thing, will then give the actors a new contract with some reasonable amount of money so that they don't have to worry about a lawsuit in the future.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Hopefully that worked out for them in the end.
Hopefully, yeah. I hope they made tons of money off this, because they did everything.
They filmed this in a week.
Filmed it in 7 days. Yeah.
I mean, I can believe it, though, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
You know, when
There is no real day-night change. Like, there's only one real shot where it looks like it goes from night to morning, but it's not going from night to... Those are lights. You
Yeah.
can tell. Like the sun doesn't go directly into your room and stay there for the day.
Maybe not your room.
Oh, is the sun always just checking you out? Hey man, what's going on?
How you doing?
Is the sun wearing sunglasses like he always does?
He does.
What's he
guarding himself from?
Yeah. You think he just doesn't? You think he's uncomfortable with eye contact?
That's
That's why we're not supposed to look at the sun.
What are those fucking sunglasses made out of?
Who knows? They would have to be pretty hardcore.
Pretty durable materials.
What metal could survive?
Unobtainium.
Unobtainium could do it. Yep.
Yeah, so that's crazy. So they filmed this in a week. I mean, dude, that's nothing.
Yeah.
That's nothing. We've had days where we filmed these fake horror trailers, and we take 2 days of filming to do that, and that's
just joking around for funsies.
And that's like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Max. Wow, man. But, at the end of the day, it gets more believable whenever you factor in that, it's not like they had to do a lot of setting up lighting. They didn't have to do, a bunch of special effects and green screen shots or anything like that.
There, in fact, are zero, computer effects, really, until they had to shoot a separate ending for Paramount.
Yeah, we'll talk about those endings and stuff, too. There was one other shot in there, though, that I caught this time around. I watched it the other night, and then I watched it again today to get ready for the show. There's that one shot towards the very end of the movie where, you remember, they're going to leave the house, and then she's like, no, we should stay.
Yeah.
And there's that shot of the camera on her, and she's laying in bed.
She
she's
has
like,
the double voice.
We'll be okay now.
Yeah.
Did you notice her face?
Did it sort of warp a little?
Just barely. There's a little bit of a weird digital...
Yeah.
It's not even whenever Bilbo reaches for the ring and his face freaks out, and it's scary for a second. It's not that. It's just this really weird, subtle. The first few frames of one of the people in the Black Hole Sun video, when their face gets weird, it's like they just did a few frames and then stopped.
Yeah.
It's very subtle, and I didn't notice it the first time that I watched it, but this time I was watching it and I was like, did her face just get fucking weird? But it's really nicely done because it's not over the top. I mean, she doesn't, turn into a demon face for a second there. It's just weird.
Yeah, and the end bit where she does turn into a demon face for a second there. Oh, we'll talk about the end.
Yeah, no me gusta.
Let's get to the
no me
endings in a
gusta,
second.
really, yeah. But basically, with that little amount of setup and special effects shots and stuff like that, I think it's entirely plausible to do this for $15,000 in a week. I mean, honestly, $15,000 seems like that's pretty high to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's entirely plausible to make this movie for $15,000. Well, it's entirely implausible for it to end up making $193 million.
My God, man. Well, here's the thing, is that $15,000, a lot of this went into the house itself.
Yeah.
I was reading some stuff online where it said that in order to kind of prepare for the movie and stuff, Oren spent, I think, the previous year renovating the house and stuff to get everything looking the way that he wanted it to for the movie. And that got my gears turning a little bit. Because I was thinking to myself, if you got a home, you own a home, and you want to do some major renovations,
you
could just make it a tax write-off.
Right.
By
shooting a movie.
By shooting a found footage movie and making that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a set expense, so I had to do it.
Had to.
So I'm just saying, if in a few years you get a movie that's set in my house and the characters are like, I think the demons are in this wall-to-wall carpeting. We better rip it up and replace it with hardwood floors.
Okay.
They rip it up frantically. They replace it all with beautiful walnut floors.
They start to rip it up, and then you on set realize, wait, why don't we just say we should hire somebody to do this? We should hire somebody to come in and take up.
Exactly, but we can't do it. The demon wants a second full bathroom.
Yes. He needs an old carpenter and a new recarpenter. Otherwise, it won't work.
I think the ghosts are in the plumbing and electrical. We better rip those out immediately.
Oh, shit.
The whole movie is just basically an episode of This Old House.
Yeah.
But it's in the name of fighting the ghosts.
Then the sequel is House Hunters. You just found a way to not only flip houses but also make money off of the renovations themselves.
Trademark Dead and Lovely. Yeah. This is gonna be our series.
I mean, HGTV is it's here in Knoxville.
Yeah, it's true. We got the people right
let's
here.
Let's go talk to them.
We got connections, man. We got to renovate this house to get the demons out and then flip it.
The demon said that if we flip it, it has to leave.
But then we get to the next house and we find out it's followed us here. So,
Oh no!
oh no, gotta do it again. Money, 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 money.
Yep. So, I mean, there's not a ton to talk about in this, other than, I mean, you know,
Let's talk about the characters a little bit. How about
characters
that?
are really the main thing.
Because there's not a lot of them.
No, there's Katie, who just seems to be this cute chick with an unfortunate situation.
Okay, I was wondering if it was just me, but I mean, you know, clearly I like short brunette girls.
That's true.
I think she's fucking adorable.
Yeah, Katie's hot.
She totally seems like that. Well, it's totally that girl next door. Like, you could
Yeah.
have went to college with her or whatever. Like, she seems just like a normal ass chick that I think is very attractive.
Yeah, she is very
And
attractive.
also, I think she's a pretty fucking good actress.
I think she does a great job. I think she and Mika both do a good job. They because what they're playing at
she's better
is-
than Mika.
Of course
think.
she is.
But also, her character is just better than Mika's character.
Yeah,
too.
because Mika's an asshole. Mika,
Yeah.
worst boyfriend ever.
He's not great. But I think she has
also most idiot ever.
most idiot ever.
Yeah, probably.
Burn a cross. That should help. What an idiot.
He
Like,
seriously
really?
does every
Really?
dumb thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes in the attic.
But
He
that-
uses a Ouija board. He
But there's
burns
a
a cross.
reason for it too, because like it's so easily explained, because he's very skeptical of it, and even though he's seeing it, like, he's still not believing that it's like something otherworldly. He's thinking like, I'm catching this phenomena, I want to figure out what it is. And then finally he sort of comes around to it's a demon.
Yeah.
But it's almost like he still thinks of it as a joke.
Well, you know what I think it is more than him like not taking it seriously, because I think towards the end of the movie, especially when he gets kind of like aggro at it and is like, "Come at me, ghost," and
Yep.
stuff. I think he is.
he does.
He kind of does.
He does. He totally forgets the principle of talk shit, get hit.
Maybe maybe that's gonna be the name of our house flip horror
Come at
movie.
me, ghost.
Come at me, ghost.
Done.
But you know, I think with his situation, it's less that he's not taking the spiritual element of it seriously, and more of he's doing the, I don't know what else to call it other than like husband project syndrome, where
Yeah.
you know, like, I think a lot of dudes do this, where if their partner, you know, is having trouble with something and they call on them to fix it, they get more interested in the task itself than in the actual person. Like, he rarely ever is like
Yeah.
asking Katie.
This isn't
like,
actually just a dude problem. This is just a problem you deal with, Rick. Because
it's
my
probably true.
my wife has had this issue too.
you know what I mean, though, where it's like
you want to just fix the problem instead of like communicating and dealing with the problem.
Well, and you get so interested in the project itself that the
Yeah.
project is more important than what she's going through. We're like
trying
this-
to find an answer.
Yeah.
Like, trying to find a way. Instead of listening to the person, you're trying to find an answer that'll just make it go away.
Or you're just looking at it as like a fun project where you get to go out and buy new toys and gadgets, and every time something horrible happens on camera, you're like, no, this is great. We got good footage.
Yeah.
It's like he's so much more interested
He
in
is,
the
yeah.
project than in helping his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I gotcha.
That's kind of the impression that I got
and
out
yeah,
of it.
and she's the whole time she just hates the camera more and more and more, which I would say she has like saint-like patience with the camera. I would not have made it that far
Fuck no.
before I. Okay, there are alternate endings. This is an alternate ending that wasn't shot, so I'll go ahead and talk about it. One of the alternate endings was that she corners Mika and beats him to death with his camera.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
that is, I think, like a perfect sort of ending, because that's exactly like her rage seems to build each time about the camera. Like, she says so much about the camera the more she gets upset.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of stuff about like, it was never this bad until you brought
Yeah.
that camera in and stuff.
Yeah, they didn't shoot it because they thought it was too brutal, but
Wow.
yeah, I think it's like a perfect sort of
Well, the thing
perfect
is, though,
ending.
with that ending in mind, of that being a possible way that this wrapped up, that's kind of cool, because I watched this movie in a lot of ways and thought of it as, man, what a weird like omen this was for the social media age.
Yeah,
Where I mean,
everything's filmed and nothing.
dude, I mean,
the people behind the camera seem to be disconnected from the thing they're filming.
Yeah, no, this is good. I'm getting good footage.
Mhm.
And it's their own family they're dealing with.
Yep.
Like, there's all those YouTube channels and stuff that have
Yeah.
like millions of followers, and
Yeah,
it's just
where-
about a family and their lives.
Yeah, where parents manipulate their children to get views. Yeah,
yeah.
it's disgusting.
Well, and there's stuff in this movie that even kind of hints at that in a way,
Mhm.
where one of the first scenes after he sets up the camera, she says like, "I can feel it watching me," And you're like, is she talking about the ghost or the camera?
Or the camera, yeah.
It follows me everywhere I go.
The ghost or the camera.
Either way. I don't know if it was really meant to be some kind of like, telling commentary on the upcoming social media age, considering when this came out. But it's like, I think it's very relatable as somebody that spends a lot of their time in front of a camera to look at it that way.
Yeah. I think so too. I think that's something I hadn't considered at all. And now that you're mentioning it, like I'm seeing that does play out through this, where it's almost like the more you put someone on camera, the more something eventually has to happen. Like
the observer effect.
Yeah. So like eventually something's going to happen that at least the person observing is going to believe is significant.
Well, and maybe that's why Mika does so many things that, like we said, are just like, God, you're doing that?
Yeah, to try to make something happen. Yeah.
Exactly. Because, again, he's more interested in getting the footage than he is in solving the problem.
About the situation.
Because ultimately, at the end of the day, he just wants to get the good footage.
Yeah.
More than he wants to solve the problem. So that's why he does dumb things like bring a Ouija board into the house. After doing that so lame, like, I'm not lying. I said I wasn't going to buy a Ouija board.
Yeah.
I borrowed one.
Yeah.
Like, those kind of, like, just half-ass lies. That shit drives me insane, man.
But again, remember, he made that up. He made that up as he was talking words to her. They were talking words at each other and just making up a relationship. I'm so impressed by
Pretty good.
That.
It's pretty good.
I mean, I've seen tons of improv things. Like, I believe Creep, a lot of that is improv.
Sure, yeah.
And that's amazing. I mean, Creep is an amazing movie. This fits on that same level where it's like they found these two people, they put them together in 7 days. They were able to create this fake relationship out of nothing,
and it's pretty believable.
Feels pretty believable.
It feels pretty believable to me, man. I think a lot of their interactions and stuff.
Yeah.
Even like the non-horror related things, like where he's like kind of getting randy about setting the camera up in the bedroom and stuff. And she's just kind of like shutting him down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's pretty convincing.
Yeah, I've known couples like that for sure.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you guys shouldn't be together. I mean, you're nice to each other and whatnot, but you're also not communicating at all, and you're really just together for convenience. And that seems to be how it is.
Or their lives seem convenient. Neither of them fucking ever work or do anything.
Yeah, he's a day trader.
We never see him trade shit. What's he day trading? Pokemon cards? What's he doing?
I think he's made enough money that he doesn't have to worry about it, right? Like, it's just one of those things where...
He must be a Yankee.
It's enraging. Yeah.
Yeah, because they got this like beautiful pool and all this other shit there, too.
You son of a bitch.
Fuck that guy.
Ugh. I'm going to eat some short ribs later. Take that, bitch.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things that I think that their relationship is actually pretty convincing. Again, I like her a lot better than him, but I think that's just more to do with how their characters are written.
I would agree on that.
Mika's
she's supposed to be seen heroically. And it's so let's just talk real quick about the sequels. I think that's a good intro. So
I've not seen any of the sequels.
Yeah, no, you don't have to, but the story that is the first movie is actually set up by the third movie and the second movie. The third movie is first in the timeline. It starts in 1988. The second movie involves her sister, Christy, who is younger, I believe. So Katie is in those movies, and then she's also in the fourth. And
so it actually does go back and explain like their childhood and shit.
Yeah, and I won't get into it because I think
don't spoil it for me.
It's so cool. And
is it good?
I think part 3 is really good. I think the revelation of like what is going on is surprising and also like really interesting. But again, I will say that the sequels of this, some of them fall into the trap of jump scares.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they do.
You can't be doing the same thing again and again and again. So.
Yeah, but they do some amazing stuff with advancing, like, how cool the effects are. Like, just... One in particular is, like, you see a bunch of dust fall, and you see, like, it fall onto
like an
the
outline. That's kind of cool.
And it's like, whoa, what's that?
Yeah.
So, like, you get some cool stuff, but then I think 3 has, like, two unearned... Well, one completely unearned jump scare that didn't do anything. One that's a jump scare that is earned, but it's also, like, this is unrelated to the movie. You just didn't need this because Paranormal Activity survives without that.
Right.
So like, why not make them all like that? But so anyway, yeah, we get more about Katie, and you do find out that actually what she's doing is villainous.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, she may know very well what she's doing.
I was wondering that
Yeah.
watching it, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching the movie going, like, what if this isn't something
Right.
that's just innocently happening to her?
You know, there are actually two ways this could have gone, too, because, like, I had that suspicion even the first time watching it through, but watching it again...
You know what? Honestly, I think that, like, watching Blackcoat's daughter...
That makes it...
it makes you just question, like, what if this person wants this to happen?
This might be the person's main desire. Watching it again, though, I was like, there's an argument. Like, you could be watching this movie and think, oh, Mika's the reason for all this. Like, he's forcing it all because, like, maybe he does this with his girlfriends. Like, that could be a separate movie where a guy brings his girlfriends into a haunted house and pretends it's not haunted and then really just sort of forces the haunting to kill his girlfriend.
Okay, yeah. That
Like,
could work.
I mean, that seems to be there, too. But, yeah, it does, from the sequel, seem like Katie knows a little bit what she's doing.
Well, let me ask you, too. Are the other sequels, are they also found footage style?
Yeah,
'Cause-
they're all found footage.
Yeah?
Every single one of them.
What time do they take place in? Is it like 80s,
So
70s?
the part 2 is happening about the same time as this.
Okay.
Like part 2,
So it's
Katie
still
shows
in, like,
up
nice
at the beginning.
camcorder era.
Yeah, Katie shows up at the beginning of part 2, and it's when she's about to move in with Mika, and then it zooms forward like a year, I think. And then it's exactly at the same sort of time. All this stuff is happening also with her sister, Christy.
Okay.
And then part 3 is in 88. But then for Ghost Dimension and
Marked ones or
the
something like
marked
this?
ones, yeah, all of those are about the year that they come out.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not like it's in like the 40s where it's like, who the fuck has a way to
No.
record video back then, you know?
That would be awesome, though.
That'd be
if
amazing.
If
Hold
they
still, Stella.
They released a Paranormal Activity, and the whole time it was just a waveform and a wax cylinder.
It's only
playing.
available on wax
Yeah.
cylinder. Yeah. Paranormal Activity 1921. Ahoy!
So yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot going on in this movie that never gets explained, and that's something I wanted to talk about
Yeah,
particularly.
man. Because, you know, the thing is like, there's some movies that you watch where there's a lot of unanswered questions, and you
Yeah.
go, oh, sloppy-ass writing.
What is this we're drinking on?
I know, right? I pulled out a sneaker
Yeah.
right here. This is an unplanned one from the Frigidaire. This is a Guinness Over the Moon Milk Stout.
Okay, I like it. I took
pretty
my
good,
first
right?
drink of it, and I was like, "That's a solid milk stout."
Yeah, it's a 5.3 ABV, luxuriously smooth
Yeah.
and sweet with creamy notes of chocolate and coffee. Made
Nothing
at our Open
fancy
Gate
about it.
Brewery in Baltimore, Maryland, where we combine 250 plus years of Guinness brewing experience in Ireland with American beer creativity. Pretty nice. I like it
there's
better than regular Guinness, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, a Guinness from a bottle, a Guinness from a tap is
It's
different
way different
if
story.
it's poured
yeah.
proper. Yeah.
Yeah, but this, drinking it was just like, that is a milk stout. That's exactly what one should taste like.
Yeah, pretty nice and tasty right there. Yeah, that's what I was wondering about, though, is like, you see some movies where, like I said, questions never get answered, and you're like,
Yeah.
they just put that in there to be weird, or
Right.
they had no plans to answer this, like fucking Lost or something, you know?
Yeah.
But in this movie, I felt like they had already planned out some backstory.
Yeah, I
mean,
think he did too. I think he had some backstory planned smartly.
and some of it's, I think, kind of clumsy. I mean, the whole,
yeah.
like, the Ouija board seemed to spell out Diane. I went on a supernatural website, and I found someone
Yeah,
named
and
Diane. That's kind of
That actually
shit.
doesn't come back in any future movies, which
Really?
is yeah.
I figured that had to be like a main subject of one of the other movies. Or
I think the demon is just manipulating Mika because he's easy to manipulate. He's
Okay.
like, if I spell out Diane's connected to this, and then he'll look that up and keep trying to contact me so I can finally take Katie.
Oh, okay. All right.
So a good first in a franchise
Yeah.
assumes there's not going to be a franchise. Like
Tell the story. Make it stand on
Yeah,
its
a
own.
good first movie makes
Yeah.
a movie that stands
Nightmare on
just
Elm Street totally
Yeah.
stands on its own.
make a story that stands on its own. Leave avenues for questions.
Okay,
Like, leave
yeah.
avenues. Maybe we do make a sequel, but also make it so that if you don't get an answer to that question, it doesn't affect your
quality of that movie.
Yeah, your way that you process the movie. If you're sitting there the whole time going, but what about Diane? Like, then the movie has failed.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not. You're more concerned with the two people you're seeing constantly. And so when you find out then in part 2, oh, this world's a little bit bigger. But again, it stays within a house. And then part 3, bigger, stays within a house, bigger. Like each sequel, okay, there are more people that are being affected by this, but in each case, it's still going to be found footage within one single location. So you, in a good, effective first movie, you set up the premise, you set up the sort of location idea, and you give us a solid story set in that world. If it succeeds, part 2 is going to be more of the same, but it's going to give us more. It's going to expand more on the world. It's going to say, maybe answer some of the questions from the first, but also give us way more questions for a potential third. Like,
Yeah.
but the first one has to be solid. It cannot be that you spend your first movie setting up all the exposition for the franchise you hope happens.
Yeah, nobody will want to watch that.
Nobody,
Yeah. If
yeah.
it's just a ton of setup, then nobody
It's
gives a shit.
uninteresting, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if you really look at every one of the great horror franchises, I mean, whether it be the first Halloween, the first Elm Street,
Right.
like those are all very self-contained. Like the story could have ended right there.
Yeah.
Also, you could still say more about it.
I mean, you could say that about any other major successful franchise. The MCU, Iron Man works as a single independent movie. You would never have to have an Avengers in the future.
Yeah, totally.
Iron Man is still good.
Still amazing on its own, dude. The weird like anomaly and all that is definitely Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just like, maybe it was his mom.
Yeah.
And then that turned into just like this huge giant spinoff about not his mom. Like, what the fuck?
And it helped to really establish and solidify the idea of whodunits as horror movies, which I think is something somebody needs to be slapped for.
I mean, dude, it started with Giallo, man.
That's true.
Giallo was way before that.
Yeah, somebody needs to be slapped for that. Just real hard, because it's like, dude, I don't know, Sleepaway Camp's pretty fucking bitchin'. That's true. They can be good, but like it really made it so that people who were like, I got an idea for some kills, but no idea for a story, and they were like, make it a whodunit.
Just go ahead and do it.
What do you mean
a
a whodunit? Oh, well, like, who did the kills you're thinking of? Oh, okay. And then what's the story? Like everybody's like, who did it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of the funny thing about the whodunits is like there's not really like a central on-screen big bad like a Freddy Krueger or whoever.
Mm-mm.
Just black gloves.
So yeah, you never even know who to hate.
Yeah, exactly.
But some of them are good.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway. So yeah, this is a solid first in a franchise. I
agree.
Think, this franchise maybe can be looked at or looked down on, and probably is, by people who grew up in, say, the 80s or in the 90s, and they'll say, like, these are the real horror movies, and the kids don't get what horror movies are these days. No, it's just that you're more scared of horror movies when you're a kid, so the movies you watched as a kid scared you more, so now that you watch them as an adult, they scare you less. It's not because the movie has changed.
It can't be that, dude.
It's because you've matured.
I don't know if you know. You might not be right about that, Steve. It can't be right.
I've said it before. I'll say it a million other times. I truly hate kids these days, like the statement kids these days, because nothing has ever fucking changed. It's always been the goddamn same.
Yeah.
Always. Anyway.
No, you're right, though. I think that this movie does do a good job of standing on its own while also setting up possibilities of exploring other things in other flicks. And I'll tell you, man, like, I will watch the other ones.
You should.
Yeah, I like this a lot more than I thought that I would.
Yeah, part 2 is really it's not the best, but it's also like a really solid sort of horror movie. Part 3, I think, ups the value from part 2, but still not as good as part 1. The ones after maybe go downhill a little bit and maybe rely a little bit more on jump scares. But the story itself is so interesting as it's playing out that I didn't really care. I just wanted to know, like, okay, so what was happening with Katie in that first movie? Like,
yeah, what was going on there?
I'm still trying to figure this out. Yeah. So I think they are worth watching.
Of course, the original ending and stuff didn't really set up a lot of
Right.
possibility for a sequel.
Yeah, the original ending, she kills Mika and then gets shot by the cops like 2 days later after her friend comes. Like, all this plays out with the camera just pointing toward the hall.
Yeah.
Mika is dead in the living room and she is just laying at the foot of the bed for 2 days. Like, I mean, of course, when they did those shots, what they did was just slowly turn over or something so that it looked like they were actually laying there for a long time.
Yeah.
But she was supposedly there for 2 days.
She was like kind of rocking and stuff.
Just kind of rocking, yeah. And then, you hear her friend show up and scream because she sees Mika, and then her friend leaves, and then later you hear the cops.
come. She kind of like snaps out of it. You can find this original ending on YouTube. That's where I watched it. And yeah, the cops just smoke her.
I think you can also find the ending where she after she tosses Mika toward the camera, she comes toward the camera and then slits her own throat, and while smiling, which was like fucking brutal. I think maybe
that's
I saw
pretty
that on the
bleak.
DVD.
That's pretty cool actually.
Yeah, it is a cool ending.
And again, going with the whole like our entire lives just camera fodder now in the social media age, I kind of like that. That kind of gets into like even the intro of that movie Cam that we both really liked a lot, where she fucking kills herself on camera. It's like, is this entertainment? Is this good enough? You know, I like that.
I do too. That would have been cool.
But again, that kind of shuts down.
Yeah,
any
it shuts
sequel
down any
opportunity.
future for what he maybe had in mind.
What did you think of this ending where she wakes up in the middle of the night, she stands over him for a while, which I do find very creepy.
I like all of that. The only problem I have with the ending is that Paramount obviously made them go for a jump scare at the end and also made her face go all warped. And it's just like,
really
this is not the movie
that
this has been up to this point.
No, not at all. Yeah, I didn't really like the ending that much. Even like after, she goes downstairs, she starts screaming, Mika gets out of bed, runs. Then we hear just some scuffling, and I guess he gets killed. And then there's probably a good like 10 or 15 seconds of just that still shot of the hallway, which I find very unsettling.
And then like
honestly, if like it would have just been credits right there,
that would have been creepy.
I would have been like, oh fuck.
Yeah, like just not any idea what happened.
Yeah, because it's like, did she get possessed and Mika killed her?
Right.
Or did she kill him? Like, actually, goddamn, I hadn't even thought about it before. The more I'm thinking about it, after the sound of the scuffle and the thump and then just silence, that could have been the movie for me, and that would have been
that would have been
fine.
a really positive ending, actually, where it's just like, because you can still go anywhere with it.
Yep.
But it's also real. It hits the tone of the movie up to that point, where it's just like, and that was what happened. Like, that would be the ending. Like,
yeah, it's
okay,
just objective. Here's the footage.
This is the
what we have to
footage.
work
Like,
with.
we have no idea exactly what happened down in that living room. But
Yeah, because the camera wasn't pointed at it.
right.
I would be very okay with that.
Yeah, that actually would have been really cool.
Right? But then the thing is you have that like 15 seconds or so of stillness, and then
the thumps.
The one like jump scare, I guess, in the movie where his body flings towards the camera.
Well, it's kind of there's a lead up to it where it's like
you hear the walking
thump,
up the stairs,
thump, and it's just so like slow and methodical. But yeah, then the throw at the camera, and then her like actually
she
jumping
kind of like sniffs around at him like an animal
which is cool.
or something. Which is
I like
okay,
that.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's all right. And then the weird dumb demon face at the end.
Yeah,
that was like a real buzzkill for me.
Yeah, that wasn't needed because it
No.
was like just so. Because like if you really want to convince me that ghosts are real, like other than an actual like footage of the ghost, it would have to do things natural.
Yeah,
and warping someone's face is an unnatural thing.
Yeah,
that's like so impossible. Even like I would just assume there was a gas leak or something and that it was like in front of their face. Like there's no way I would see someone's face
distortion.
Yeah, and be like, oh, that was real. That was something that happened.
Right.
So it just goes it pushes outside of the boundaries that the movie's sort of established. And so
I think so too.
It just doesn't work.
I mean, honestly, even if it would have been her looking at the camera and just having a totally emotionless, almost sleepwalky face.
Sure.
That would have been fine. That would have been totally creepy. And that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. Or maybe it ends with her throwing the camera down the stairs. Just anything.
Whatever.
But rushing at the camera with demon face is dumb to me because that also means that the demon
hates the camera.
Yeah, it knows what a video camera is.
But it seems like the demon would love the camera because it's what brought him and Katie together, which is what he wanted.
Yeah, it just doesn't really make sense, Like, I like that original ending of the cop smoking her. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's so,
That
like,
works.
bleak and just like, well, now we'll never know what happened.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is a cool ending. Yeah, but then that would be potentially the entire... Though you could make future movies without connecting it back to Katie. I think that because you connect the demon to Katie in the movie, you need her at least for one more movie.
And that's kind of poltergeisty in
Yeah.
that it's, you know, just like how the poltergeist demon, whatever, follows Carol Ann.
Yes.
Follows that family. It's not just a location. It's like, this isn't really a haunted house movie. It's a haunted person movie.
Yeah, there are definitely homages to Poltergeist and Amityville Horror throughout the franchise. Even in this, like just when the TV comes on upstairs, like Mika's downstairs, and then he hears it come on, and he comes walking into it, and it's so creepy because it's just static. Like,
that scene before that too, where like she's out on the patio,
and
just
like
sitting out there,
and it's cold. Yeah,
yeah, but she's so like
out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like whenever like a little kid is sleepwalking or something like that. She's very convincing.
Yeah,
in those parts of the movie.
She does a great job. Yeah,
I think so too, man. But yeah, I do think the ending of this is definitely the weak part of the movie for me.
Yeah,
like I said, that just cheesy demon face.
Yeah, it was cheesy. I mean,
like, do it for me.
There were so many moments where they could have had like big jump scares and didn't use them. That jump scare just is so out of place.
This is cheap.
Like when Mika walks up the ladder to the cellar or what? Not cellar.
Attic,
the attic part. Like, of course, all you're expecting is he's gonna see glowing eyes in the corner or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, all he sees is a burnt picture, and like, then that's just more of a mystery. Like, how did that get there? What does that even mean? Like,
yeah, was it retrieved from their burnt down house? Like, there's a lot to it.
I mean, it does get more answered in the future films, but it's also like it works so perfectly within this film because it's just so creepy. It's so like, because she's saying like, this is from the house that burned down. Like, there's no way this would be here.
Yeah, I haven't seen this in 15 years.
Yeah, like, so there's already the little bit of creepiness to it. Then when you learn more backstory to it, it's even more creepy. So it works perfectly in that moment without having to just be like, and what if when he looked in the dark, there was a thing there?
Ugh.
There's things in the dark and it's scary.
Maybe it's a little music box playing a creepy old-timey song.
Maybe it is. And maybe it's some little kids singing a song.
Oh, fuck me, dude.
Maybe it's a song played slowly in some way.
Yeah, a song you thought was happy, but now it sounds sad and slow.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Oh, please quit putting this in trailers, please. I'm gonna take my car down the old town road. Actually, that was in something recently.
Oh, was it? Somebody
there was
did
actually
like a Johnny
trailer.
Cash Old Town Road.
Yeah.
Fuck y'all.
What was it? Fuck. It was something that looked stupid too. Yeah, I saw it in a trailer recently. I think it was before the Star Wars. You still haven't seen the Star Wars,
I
have you?
haven't seen Star Wars, have I?
What's the matter with you?
I mean, I'll see it. You know what?
Justify your existence.
I'll tell you this right now. Getting excited about Star Wars has never been my thing. Watching Star Wars and being like, that was fun, always been my thing.
That's kind of been your thing?
Yeah.
I think this movie's pretty well paced.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
It's an hour 20. I mean,
it's short. Yeah, it's not longer than it needs to be, in my opinion. It does get kind of repetitive, where it's just like, it's day, it's night, it's day, it's night, it's day,
You
it's
ever heard
night.
of that?
Yeah, that's also kind of how life goes.
That is true.
And that's also what it would feel like if this
it's
was
like a 24-hour cycle almost.
Oh, it's very nearly like that.
Yeah.
But that's also what it would be like if you just had a bunch of found footage from this guy's
Yeah.
high-tech FireWire connection. Boy, they banked on that one, didn't they?
They did.
Should have connected with USB.
He should have. Boy, FireWire. That was fun for everybody.
It was technically faster
You know what's
than
real
USB.
fun for everybody? Just constantly changing wires and ports.
No, it's not, actually. Fuck, man. Dude, I'm so fucked. Every time I ride on a plane now and I just have like my headphones with my lightning port on them for my phone. And then if you want to watch a movie, it just accepts 1/8 inch.
Right.
So you have to have your stupid fucking dongle with you. God damn it, Apple. Why did you get rid of the headphone jack? Why do you have to be a piece of shit like that?
Isn't the European Union suing them and
Are
trying
they really?
to? Yeah, they're trying to establish like.
Well, because that's the thing,
one
dude.
single.
Yeah,
thing.
because
Yeah.
now they're having to redo airplanes and shit
Yeah.
like this to have a goddamn lightning port on them so you
Yeah.
can listen to your fucking movie. Think
Yeah.
about all the industrial waste that's creating. Just use the goddamn 1/8" jack.
Well, how can you make $1 billion if you don't cut a ton of corners and sell people products that aren't worth buying?
Oh.
The important thing is making $1 billion, Ben.
Yeah, what did I missed the point entirely here. How could I forget that?
You know,
and we say this as we both have Apple phones and we're recording this on a Mac.
that is true. I mean, because we're not poor people, right? Yuck.
No.
An Android? What is this, 1997?
I think not, sir.
So it's the pacing. I think it never hits a major lull because it needs slow moments. Like, it has the moments where, say, the demonologist is sort of explaining stuff, but never giving us like a full explanation of what exactly is happening.
There's the scenes where he's doing some sweet picking on his Line 6 Variax electric guitar,
that is
which
true.
was a high-tech item at this point.
Uh-huh. But, I mean, there are moments that it sort of lulls, but, like, those pay off. Where, say, like, it'll early in the movie, you get these sort of long shots of, say, the hallway that seem to mean nothing. Then 10 minutes later, same shot, a small occurrence, like when the door slightly moves,
the shadow,
or you see a shadow. Yeah. So it's a build up. So like even if it seems a little slow early on, it's actually just building to what becomes this real quick paced ending that is almost like it's surprising when it does end. Like, you know, it's building to something, but it's like, okay, so we're already there though. Like, we're already at the point where the shit's going down. Though I would say that if I were Katie, the point where the shit would have went down was the night in bed when Mika is mansplaining to me what the demonologist said earlier today. And it's like, yeah, I fucking know that.
Yeah, I know,
we
idiot.
had a guy come here and say all of that to my face.
Already heard it
and
once.
now you're reading it from a book and telling me it again? All right, how about this? I'm just going to kill you now to save us all time.
Maybe that's the idea.
Jesus. He's the worst boyfriend.
Yeah, he's not great. I'll tell you what, though, you know, watching this with captions on, and there's just so many occurrences of low humming.
Yeah, low humming out of nowhere. If you listen with the headphones on, like, there's just so much going on that you think, if you're just paying attention on your TV, you think, oh, nothing's happening right now.
Or it could even be
Something's
noise
happening.
in the room that you're watching it in. Or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. I started to think that maybe the house was being haunted by the singer of the Crash Test Dummies.
I mean, if that had been the case, at the end, her hair would have turned from black into
bright
white.
She couldn't quite explain it.
No, it was because the cars had crashed so hard, Ben.
Oh,
right. You're
that's
thinking of
right.
the birthmarks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
You're correct. You're correct. What was I thinking, man? But then, too, after that chandelier was swinging, I thought maybe Sia was haunting the house. And all those thumps, all that thump was from that thumping bass that she puts in her songs to get you to dance.
That's Sia.
And
She's
then
like,
she's swinging
hey,
from the
you
chandelier.
can't see most of my face.
That's another thing. You never see the demon's face.
Must be Sia.
Probably Sia.
Probably
I'm just saying.
Sia.
Probably Sia.
Sia killed all these people.
Yeah.
Damn, Sia.
Why you gotta be that way?
I mean, you know what? Maybe she's just mad because she wanted to get dental surgery, but her parents gave her the option of traveling to Europe or getting dental surgery, and she decided to travel to Europe.
Is this a true story?
Yes, it is. And her signature sound comes because her teeth weren't fixed. So,
I mean, that's Freddie Mercury's deal too.
Yeah.
You know.
So
I should sing
there you
great.
go.
Is what you're saying.
that's all I know about Sia, except that she wears that wig that covers her eyes or whatever. I don't even know if I've heard that chandelier song.
It's pretty bitchin', I can't lie.
I bet.
It's pretty fucking awesome, man. Okay, so this is a pretty cool flick. I enjoyed it more than I thought that I would.
I'm glad you did. This is one that, as I said, on my first viewing, I also just didn't give it a shot. And coming back, I same thing. I enjoyed it more than I really thought I would.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's not one of those that I feel like I'm gonna be like, oh, let's see, I got a night off. What should I watch? Oh, Paranormal Activity.
Finally, I can get back to Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, it's not one of those that I'm gonna rewatch. Like, I don't think that there's a lot of
rewatch value?
No, not
there's
really. No, I mean
No.
it's not like there's like weird, crazy shit you never notice in the background, like watching Hereditary for
The
the millionth
rewatch
time.
value might be in, and I'm getting it now because I watched 3 and I was almost through 2 before I left to come here. Watching it now in timeline order, that's about the only rewatch value there is, to just see like the story play out as it did. I guess
like chronologically.
But yeah, like there's nothing to catch. Like everything, the screen, this camera watches and shows you every time something happens. Nothing is like in the background. It's all right there.
Yeah, pretty much. So I don't feel like this is one of those ones that I'm gonna rewatch a million times, but. You know, if I'm with somebody like, oh, I've never seen it, I'd be like, yeah, I'll watch it again.
Worth a watch, sure.
Yeah, worth a watch. Because, again, it doesn't overstay its welcome.
No.
It's not overly complicated. It's not overly convoluted or anything. It's not loaded with dumb jump scares and, like, shit special effects and stuff. It's like it really knew, like, we're working on such a limited budget. Let's not try to do big, dumb special effects. Because with the money we have, it's going to turn out shitty. So let's just not even do it.
Work with sound. A little wire work, maybe. Because they moved the door probably with a wire, I would assume.
That scene of her getting like dragged out of bed was very convincing.
Yeah, I'm wondering how they did that exactly. I'm thinking a wire, and she basically helped it along. I wanted to look back and see if she was doing a whole lot of arm work to sort of move back, and it was just sort of like pulling her as well.
Yeah, that's true, because the scene before that, when she's like sleeping, and then the scene where she actually gets pulled out of bed, she's in a much different position.
Yeah.
So there has to be some kind of setup, I guess, going on there. But whatever it is that they did, it turned out looking great to me.
It looked awesome.
Yeah. Never did it feel like unconvincing.
No.
And even like when she hits the floor and like just then kind of wakes up is very convincing too.
Yes, it is.
You know?
Yeah, I really dug that. I think also like just looking at, you know, if you're a horror fan who's a fan of practical effects, I mean, maybe you want gore, and this doesn't have that.
No,
this is full of practical effects.
Yeah,
like
totally.
they were trying to problem solve, trying to do things for the cheapest possible and make it look as good as possible, and I think they did a good job.
And like I said, it's very inspiring to look at this movie and just be like, this took no budget at all to make.
That is really cool. That means like maybe you could do this.
Maybe you can do it, you know? Yeah, I mean, fucking dude, Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas just like swept the Grammys.
Yeah,
off of a record that they made like in his fucking bedroom using like basically the same setup I have here, like Logic and a couple of whatever monitors and a sub.
I mean, we've made this podcast doing the same damn shit.
Yeah.
You've made most of the music you've recorded probably in rooms similar to this. It's not that much of a difference. Like, just because you don't have the $1 million studio doesn't mean you can't just sit down and actually do it.
Yeah, a good idea is a good idea.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so it's one of those things that this is a inspiring movie to watch if you're an aspiring filmmaker and be like, wow, there is a way to make something, even if I don't have access to Tom Cruise and millions of dollars and a red camera and whatever.
I would say in 2007, 2009, when this was like trying to find its footing, like this is a time when people would have been like, oh yeah, like you're not going to make any money off found footage anymore. We've moved past that or whatever.
Because at this point it had been very done to death. I mean
98 was when Blair Witch Project came out. So that was like a decade before this hits.
Yeah,
so,
this is pretty late to the game in terms of that. Imagine getting the second huge bite at the apple of the found footage horror trend. I mean, that's like winning the luck lotto, you know? So, yeah, I think it's a pretty cool flick. You got any final thoughts on a rating on this thing?
Okay, yeah. So final thoughts. I mean, this is not something like Black Coat's Daughter that we mentioned earlier that has like a real like creative and smart look and a different feel to it than any other horror movie maybe you've ever seen. This is very much like, say, Poltergeist or Amityville Horror in some ways, except just visualizing those families in a situation where they act like normal people and they have like cameras focused on them and they know the cameras are there. It's almost like a meta version of Poltergeist.
It's Poltergeist by ways of Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. So it's not overly creative, but that is creative. I mean, honestly, like smashing two things together is where a lot of creativity comes from. Just saying, like,
Look at
I
the
like this
Reese's
thing, I
peanut
like
butter
that
cup.
thing. Bam. Yes. Look at John Fogerty.
Chicken
Lumberjack
and
and
waffles.
Rockstar.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
Half and half. Chicken and waffles.
Yeah, delicious. So a lot of creativity is smashing two things together that nobody else has thought of. So he had a really smart idea. I'm sure he didn't expect to make $193 million.
Good Lord.
But he also probably saw at the end of the day, like after a week, he had enough great footage to edit together a pretty good movie that at the least is well worth $15,000.
Oh yeah, good Lord.
So it's I mean it's not like Wes Craven or John Carpenter. He obviously has shown with other stuff he's done like Insidious or Chernobyl Diaries that he has an okay like.
Oh, this guy did Insidious?
Yeah, he's one of the producers of
Okay.
Insidious alongside James Wan and what's his
Right,
name? Yeah.
that's what I was thinking of. Okay.
Yeah. But he wrote, I believe, Chernobyl Diaries. But I haven't seen that one.
I mean,
I haven't. Anyway, but he obviously has some idea of horror and could make some good horror. I think in a lot of ways though, he just hit at the right exact moment with the right exact thing.
yeah,
like-
I think so.
It's just a perfect confluence of events, a perfect storm that made it so that this movie got the recognition that a lot of other movies around this time didn't get, but probably deserve. So it's a good movie. It's not the greatest movie you'll ever see. Say for me, like a 7.5
Yeah,
area.
I
where
believe
it's
that.
like a solid movie.
Yeah,
I would say.
I buy that. I would just call it a solid movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, same for me too. Yeah, everything that you just said is basically what I was gonna get at as well. I think I would probably end up putting this thing at about I'm gonna say like a 6.5.
Okay.
Something like that for me. I mean, honestly, I went into this expecting like a fucking 3, where it's just like,
Yeah, this is.
well, what the fuck ever, it's another found footage. I
Yeah.
did feel like this is one of those movies that did get kind of like spoiled for me through pop culture.
Yes,
You
this
know?
has been done to death. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, seeing the trailers where she gets pulled out of the bed.
yeah,
Seeing, I can't remember if it was in a trailer or just like somebody told me about that scene where they lay out the powder and they see the footprints in it. Like the first time somebody told me
Wait,
about
didn't that
that.
happen in like a? They did it in like a scary movie too.
Did they?
Yeah, like I mean, title scary movie, not
Yeah.
a scary movie.
Right.
I think so. Maybe not.
But I remember the first time somebody told me about that, I was like, holy shit, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah,
But then whenever, they started laying out the powder in the movie, I was like, oh, I know it's about to
yeah.
happen.
You're already aware of. Yeah,
Yeah. So I feel like I probably would have enjoyed it even more if I just hadn't absorbed a lot of the hot
See
parts
it
of the movie.
entirely unspoiled. Yeah,
Yeah. But for me, I think, 6.5 is about where
Sweet.
I'd put this thing, man.
awesome.
Fun flick. Definitely exceeded expectations.
Well, Ben, next week,
Next week on the show,
why don't we just talk about us?
maybe it's a good time to talk about
It's
us.
about trust, baby.
What's love?
Got to do with it.
You just want to talk about you and me, or do you want to talk about Jordan Peele's Us?
Us. That one.
U.S.
Jordan Peele.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Maybe we
Mhm.
will. We did a mini-sode on that when it come out.
But as I said in the minisode several times, I can't wait to do a deep dive on this because there's so much going on.
There's a lot going on
Yeah.
in this, so it will be fun to go through this
Yeah.
with a keener eye
Mhm.
and try to catch all the things that I missed the first time that I saw it in the
Yeah.
theaters.
Me too. I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
I this and Midsummer are the two that I've been wanting to revisit
Yeah,
the
same.
most
Yeah, me
because
too.
I just it's hard to find a time to sit down and watch either of those movies for fun. 'Cause they are harsh.
They're both pretty rough
They're
movies
rough,
to watch
yeah.
for sure. So yeah, that'll be a fun episode to go over. I really enjoyed our Get Out episode
Me
that
too.
came out a year or two ago, I
Yeah.
guess.
Mhm.
That's a good listen. Go back and check that one out if you haven't already. And again, be sure to go on iTunes, rate and review, leave us a question. You'll hear that answered on another show someday. And if you want to follow us on the social media, you can.
At Dead Lovely Pod on Twitter and Instagram.
Yep.
On YouTube and Facebook, it's /Dead and Lovely.
Yep.
And Patreon, patreon.com/Dead and Lovely. Go over there, donate some money. You can become a $5 patron. You can submit a movie every month. We've been randomly drawing from these movies, but also we're just picking
Doing them
movies
anyway.
that we like and want to do. So become a $5 patron. You get to decide what movies we actually cover. So please head on over there and buy a t-shirt. Email us if you want a t-shirt.
That's right. Well, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. I look forward to talking about us with y'all next time on Dead and Lovely. You guys have been fantastic. We have been Uncle Ben.
Hollywood Steve.
And next week I'm also going to be telling you guys some fun shipwrecked stories from my times at sea. So be sure to tune in for that shit.
I can't wait to hear the story of Andy Wood fucked a mermaid.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. So tune in next week and you'll find out all about it as well as everything we think about Jordan Peele's Us. Bye-bye. Catch you later. Bye-bye. Do you ever think the reason why Dr. Dre got so motivated to become such an incredible producer and then start that Beats headphone brand and make like billions of dollars and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever think he was just trying to pay off his student debt of all that he went into to become Dr. Dre?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he went to Beats University, I assume. Or
Makes
the
sense,
School
yeah.
of Hard Knocks. I don't know which one he got into.
They're both very exclusive.
Both very exclusive. But yeah, he got his PhD.
I bet the interest rates were just killing him. He's like, I got to do something to dig myself out of this. I'm a doctor, damn
Plus, he
it.
bought all those guns, probably on credit.
Yeah, it's true.
And apparently, he hasn't sold them all, but he considered it at least. When he said, "What you think I sold them all?" It was like he was talking to himself. Like, come on, Dre. You're still yourself, man. Don't sell your guns just because you need money. Those student loans will pay for themselves in years. Find Eminem. He's out there somewhere.
What if he got all that way and then found out that he could have like made it to where he is as, Associate Dre?
Associate Dre.
Yeah.
Master Dre.
Master
Dre's better.
Master Dre's
Master is
sick anyway,
always
honestly.
better than Doctor. I'm just saying it. It sounds cooler.